Chapter 59:34. So it is. Jian Wushuang listened to the truth, but in fact he didn't understand this at all. He did not expect that Zhen Wuyang would really settle down here. How can a person who is a cultivator understand the mortal mind? Hey little guy. A child with a tiger's head and a head was embraced by Zhen Wuyang and pinched his face dotingly. There were 4 or 5 children of similar appearance chasing after him. Family fun. Jian Wushuang has no opinion on this, because he cannot understand it. Wu Li is an expert in this regard, and he is very disdainful of it, because the family he built himself can be thrown away. For family love has long been underestimated. Before Zhenmiang this was actually the case. They don't pay much attention to those sons and daughters. Most of them are divided into territories and sit on one side. Even his own son didn't dare to breathe heavily in front of him. Now he is so fond of his grandson. Father. Not far along the corridor, a lady dressed in extravagance walked over, bowed to Zhen Wuyang, and quickly took over the child in Zhen Wuyang's hands. These are my father's friends, so I won't see you yet. The lattice eyebrows jumped, and she looked at Jian Wushuang and the others and bowed her body. Jian Wushuang patted Wu Li, whose eyes were straight, and smiled at the woman in front of him, and then asked, "Who is this?" "Forgot to introduce, this is my eldest daughter." Zhen Wuyang smiled proudly. This county owner looks nothing like the sons and daughters of Zhen Wuyang and Desiyu, but the purest blood of Zhenwuyang flows in her body, and even her children have a quarter of the blood of Zhenwuyang. By the way, let Mu Er come to the Xuanwu temple, and say that there are guests. Zhen Wuyang ordered casually, and continued to walk towards the inner room with Jian Wushuang and others. Entering the Xuanwu hall, only to find that this place is not a hall, but more like a study. The layout is smart and cozy. There were books and papers next to them, and everyone took their seats. Ha! Jian Wushuang let out a sigh of relief, and said with emotion, "No wonder you don't want to leave. I might have to stay." At this time, Wu Li interjected, "Brother Wushuang, you have the power of life. You don't need a woman. You can create life by yourself. This is nothing to be rare." The power of life. Only then did Zhen Wuyang think that Jian Wushuang was in control of the power of life. He didn't think it was so special before, but after coming here, he realized how crazy Sanjia was in the face of the power of life. According to common sense, there should be no shortage of life force within the Wanlu universe. But I don't know when it started. The power of life born here is getting less and less. Because the power of life in the vault of heaven world comes from God. Many people think that there is something wrong with God. Just can't verify. The power of life, don't use it indiscriminately. Dan Bao shook his head and denied Wu Li's words. Seeing this, Wu Li stopped talking. Even his cheap old man was respectful to Dan Bao, and he would not dare to do it again. It's the same as before, reaching out and touching people's foreheads. Tell me about the ancestor of your Jingwu dynasty. Seeing this, Zhen Wuyang's expression changed and he sighed. Greed. Actually, there is still a lot of vitality in the ancestors. It is because of greed that entering the Sea of Cosmos will quickly lose vitality. Cosmic Sea? Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Now from Zhenmiang, he also has some understanding of the world of the vault of heaven. The sky is below, and the sky is above. Between them, there is also the Cosmic Sea. It's a sandwich between the two. Wherever it is full of danger, it also contains countless treasures. Among them, there are many mysterious treasures that have disappeared from the outside world, and fruits that contain divine power. Some treasures are enough to tempt the 8 tribulations realm. It is normal for Emperor Zhenwu to lose his life, because of his risk-taking and injury. Oh, it was all caused by a treasure. Zhen Wuyang shook his head. Actually, this kind of thing is normal. Jian Wushuang and the others also fight again. If you come out and run, you will have to fold it on this sooner or later. You can't be so lucky every time. Jian Wushuang has absolute experience in this. Almost every time he dances on the tip of the knife. There are very few opportunities that are absolutely certain. I can help you with this matter. Zhen Wuyang has never spoken, because he has scruples. I am worried that I owe Jian Wushuang too much, and I have to leave here at that time. So Jian Wushuang simply mentioned it directly. As for whether or not to go back, he did not force it. Although he made a promise with Jinling at the beginning, what Jinling cares about is to solve the threat of Qishan Temple and let Qishan Temple return to its peak. This Jian Wushuang has the confidence to help Jinling do it, so there is no need to take Zhen Wuyang back together. Isn't there anyone else? Moreover, he solved the Temple of Destruction and destruction of the world, and took the Temple of Qi to a higher level, so that the real spirit would not care about a real Wuyang. Zhen Wuyang also felt a little embarrassed in his heart. When I entered here, it was the help of the Jinling gang. He is able to reach the peak, and it is also a true spirit. It all depends on the chance in Qi Temple. It doesn't matter if he doesn't go back now. Jian Wushuang still helps him like this. People who want face will feel sorry for them. You don't have to think about it. This is between us. Then thank you very much. Zhen Wuyang's body trembled, and there was light in his eyes. Once Emperor Jinwu regained his vitality, those forces that attacked the Jinwu dynasty would also retreat. Everything went away. It's just that I don't quite understand one thing. Why are you still so dependent on the world after you have reached this level? Jian Wushuang expressed the doubts in his heart. Although the previous things are indeed moving, but that kind of thing, he doesn't believe that Zhen Wuyang didn't experience it when he was weak. What Wu Li said, although a little impatient, also made sense. At their level, how could they still be obsessed with this kind of thing? Zhen Wuyang took a deep breath, and just as he was about to speak, he felt an aura of affinity, and he was already outside the hall. Outside the Shuangwu Temple, a young man who looks very similar to Zhen Wuyang, with a mighty breath and a resolute face. He is the son of Zhenwuyang, born only a few epochs. He is already the master of the universe of the three tribulations, and his strength is extremely powerful, able to fight for the better. In the Jinwu dynasty, he was the top genius among the younger generation. At this time he walked to the front of the hall, took a deep breath and walked in. He had heard that this time to resist the Nanyun kingdom, his father had recruited a super presence, who had shaken back the army of the Nanyun kingdom, and now he is feasting again. Which super existence must be? With curiosity he walked into the hall. At a glance he looked at Jian Wushuang, but he didn't feel any breath, and he felt like an ordinary person. Chapter 5935. Wushuang, let me introduce to you. This is the dog below, Zhen Wuyang, and now he is also the master of the three tribulations realm universe. Zhen Wuyang saw his son come in with pride in his eyes. See you seniors. Zhen Wuyang saluted respectfully. Jian Wushuang nodded hurriedly, and said with admiration, "Sure enough, you have become the master of the universe at such a young age, and your future achievements may not weaken you." Speaking of which, it didn't take long for him to repair. "Okay, let's go to the apps. I have already prepared the dinner party." "Trouble," Jian Wushuang said politely, took Danbao and Wu Li, got up and followed Zhen Wuyang into the apps. At the dinner, Zhen Wuyang's daughter and wife were there. Seeing Zhen Wuyang's wife, Jian Wushuang understood why Zhen Wuyang was so attached to the family at this time. It turned out to be exactly the same as the woman at the time of Desiyu. Maybe it's God's will. At the dinner party, we exchanged glasses and chatted a lot. But most of them are things in the world of the vault of heaven. He also took the opportunity to ask Zhen Wuyang for advice about God. Danbao relied on the power of blood, and could not feel the position of brew. 80% of the great monks have gone to God. They entered the vault of heaven world by accident. The most important thing now is to help Danbao become the of life. Here in Zhenwuyang, it's just a small episode. Since the other party is unwilling to leave, Jian Wushuang does not need to continue to persuade. After the dinner was over, it was late at night. At this time, the high-level powerhouses of the dynasty also came to Zhenwuyang's mansion. The purpose of coming here is also very simple. Just want to know about Jian Wushuang. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Zhen Wuyang simply took Jian Wushuang to the palace. I saw the Emperor Jinwu. Originally, I was going to let Danbao take action, but Danbao damaged the foundation, and the shield of life was useless. He had no choice but to take action himself to help Emperor Jinwu regain his vitality. But it doesn't take much life force. The other party is only half a step into the Eight Tribulations realm. Even the Lord of the Eight Tribulations realm universe is not a problem for Jian Wushuang now. Emperor Zhenhui's vitality has returned to its peak. It also means that the power of the Zhenwu dynasty has been stabilized. The forces attacking from the four directions, although shocked and curious, did not dare to attack again after learning that Emperor Zhenwu had regained his vitality. These are actually unspoken rules. As long as there is a half-step 8 tribulations realm, all the forces will understand that if they continue to fight, it will not be good for anyone. The army was quickly withdrawn. At the same time, he is also speculating whether it has something to do with the mysterious powerhouse who defeated the Nagumo army. After all, the front foot defeated the army of the Nanyun Kingdom, and the back foot of Emperor Zhenwu was restored to life. The secret is only known to the parties involved. Help Zhenwuyang fulfill his greatest wish. In this regard, no matter what Jian Wuyang is, Jian Wushuang is the ultimate. Declining Emperor Zhenhui's dinner, Jian Wushuang took Dan Bao and Wu Li and was about to leave directly. In front of the city gate, Jian Wushuang asked Jian Wuyang what he thought for the last time. Are you really not going to leave? Don't go. Jian Wuyang shook his head. His complexion was much better than before. He turned to look at Jian Wushuang and said resolutely, Actually, at my level, I already know the destiny. This life may be like this. And then I go out and explore. It's also holding you back. How come? Jian Wushuang spread his hands and said, At least, you have now become the master of the universe of the 5 tribulations realm. This is nothing. The 5 tribulations realm is just a meteor among all living beings. At our level, if there is no room for improvement, the most important thing is what can be left behind. I don't want to wait for myself to fall and look back on this life. Nothing to be proud of is left behind. Jian Wushuang sighed. Maybe you are right. The two fell silent at the same time. Really, Wuyang is right. At the beginning, Qixin was half-stepped into the 8 tribulations realm. It was not the same that he left the Qixin temple, and even cooperated with Miesheng, just to leave a glimmer of hope. The same is true of Zhenwuyang now. It's just that what's left is different. Gone. Jian Wushuang recovered his emotions, his figure slowly rose. He lowered his head and glanced at Jian Wuyang for the last time, and said indifferently, Take care. The same as you. Made a final goodbye. The 3 of Jian Wushuang burst into the air, and left the capital of the Zhenwu dynasty in an instant. After flying for a distance, they tore the space and left the Zhenwu dynasty. Feeling the disappearance of the breath, Jian Wuyang stood on the top of the city, did not turn around for a long time. His eyes were a little cloudy, and he left alone until he could not feel the breath of Jian Wushuang. Of course, this is only temporary. Following Jian Wushuang may have a short burst of enthusiasm, but unfortunately, that is something only young people do. God. A world of ice and snow surrounded by aurora. The weather is freezing cold. It is fundamentally different from what those practitioners from the outside world think. The king was right. In the current Wanlu universe, the source has been damaged. The spaces they first entered were the original Wanlu universe. With lush foliage is full of greenery. Now it is dead silence. Not even a shadow. Swish. Above the sky, a thunder vortex appeared quietly. Dozens of figures rushed out of it quickly. It's over. The whole of God looks the same. It seems to be more serious than what the Lord Realm said. The big monk frowned and said coldly, Don't worry about this. It's still more important to find the little master. Since it's not in the sky, it's in the sky world below. Sky world? Then how do you get in? Although the Lord of Hungmu is a native of the Wanlu universe, he has only lived in the sky, and he has never been there at all, except that he has heard that there is a heavenly world below. This is simple. Let's go to the universe sea first. Anyway, the ladder to becoming it is in the universe sea, and we have to go sooner or later. King Shenmu and the others could only stare blankly, not familiar with this place at all. Okay, then you lead the way. Everyone quickly made a decision, and the great monk led the way to the Sea of Cosmos. The universe sea is actually the sea of origin of life. It is also the mezzanine between the sky and the sky. The treasures of the entire Wanlu universe flow out from the universe sea. Where is the core of Wanlu universe? The place of origin. Where are the 8 achievements of the metal life mentioned by the Realm King? They still have to solve this scourge before they can help Danbao walk the ladder of gods. King Shenmu and others are heading towards the Sea of Cosmos. Jian Wushuang is the same here. With Danbao and Wu Li, he left the Jinwu dynasty, and he moved forward at full speed, moving quickly towards the entrance of the Universe Sea. The original plan was to walk directly into the Ladder of Gods. But the appearance of the Realm King disrupted the plan. We have to solve the trouble of metal life. They naturally have to hurry up. Chapter 5936. Brother Wushuang, is the entrance to the Universe Sea really the same as those old guys said? Wu Li's tone was a little suspicious. When helping Emperor Jinwu to regain his vitality, from the other party's mouth, they learned about the entrance to the Cosmos Sea, and the formation of the entrance to the Cosmos Sea. Jian Wushuang also took the opportunity to ask about God, but the other party didn't know much about it. The highest level of the Vault of Heaven is still the Temple of Immortality. Maybe the other party will know, but he doesn't know anyone, so there is no way to ask. Just gave up. Maybe they don't need to worry about meeting with the Great Monk and others. The Great Monk and the Lord of Hongmu are both natives in the Wanlu universe, and they are both cultivators of the gods. Must know something. The powerhouses of the Vault of Heaven can enter the Universe Sea, let alone God. If it really doesn't work, just smash the space-time tunnel and enter the Universe Sea. The entrance to the Cosmic Sea that appeared in the sky world was accidentally opened when the 2 super-existences were fighting. So Wu Li didn't believe it. I think Emperor Jinwu has something to brag about. After they came to this world, they had already figured out the strength of time and space here. It is definitely not the origin universe of ordinary practitioners in the ancient moon time and space, even if it is the origin universe of the master of the Peak 8 Catastrophe Realm universe. They can break open at will. Of course, it's just destroying time and space, and it's just a hole. Destruction is impossible, even if the Cosmos Master of the 8 Tribulations realm allows them to attack. It cannot be destroyed. This is the power of the Lord of the 8 Tribulations of the universe. The key is that the other party will not let you call. I am afraid that it will be suppressed by the willpower of the Lord of the 8 Tribulations realm, as soon as it appears. Now all they encounter is robbery. It may feel that the 8 Tribulations realm is just like that. As we all know, scattered robbery and the Lord of the universe are 2 concepts. Now Jian Wushuang's divine power can be doubled, and with Starry Sky Kendo, he can defeat ordinary 8 Tribulation realm, and even fight against the top powerhouses of 8 Tribulation realm. But when encountering the Lord of the universe in the 8 Tribulations realm, the opponent's divine power is inexhaustible. With the addition of the Origin Dojo, the weakest universe lord in the 8 Tribulations realm has tens of millions of divine powers. Suppressing Jian Wushuang is a matter of raising your hand. Their own strength does not mean that the space of the original universe is powerful. No matter what, it's all at the cosmic level. It is not the origin of time and space comparable to the long river of time and space. Jian Wushuang thought of the original True Spirit. According to the True Spirit's strength, saving the tunnel that could open up Guyu's time and space at the beginning, even if the Realm King secretly made a move. It's also difficult. The True Spirit has the strength of the 7 Tribulations realm, at most half a step, plus the Qishan Temple itself. It is not bad to have the strength of the 7 Tribulations realm. With that kind of strength, it can open up time-space tunnels. But in Wanlu universe, Jian Wushuang's strength is not known how much stronger than the original True Spirit. But it can't shake the time and space of Wanlu universe in the slightest. Wanlu universe. The spatial structure formed. It is stronger than the long river of time and space in the outside world. Wu Li and the others did not know, but he knew that this Wanlu Shenmu was obtained by Weiss, and even the Realm King was not qualified to manipulate it. It must be more powerful than time and space. Inside this universe, it is really strange to want to rely on battle to destroy an entrance to the Universe Sea. Unless the 9 Tribulations realm appeared in the Wanlu Shenmu. If the 9 Tribulations realm really appeared, the Great Monk should also know about it. But never heard him mention it. Jian Wushuang pondered for a moment, and then hesitantly said, "Don't worry about it so much. We are not here to study the Wanlu universe. Let's go into the Sea of Cosmos, where can there be countless treasures. Maybe you are lucky. You can still make a fortune." Heroes see the same thing. Wu Li licked the corner of his mouth. They are all lay people, and they are inevitably fascinated by treasures. Dan Bao is about to become a god, so naturally he doesn't like this. Help Dan Bao become a god, and they will be able to obtain a large amount of treasure. Although the danger level of entering the Wanlu universe is much higher this time, the probability of getting the treasure is almost a certainty. There is also the promise of the king. Now everyone is looking forward to it. While they were enjoying the future, at the top of the vault of heaven, there was a hall that had not moved for hundreds of millions of years. He is monitoring every move of Jian Wushuang and the others. In the gloomy hall, after realizing that Jian Wushuang and others were targeting the universe sea, they let out an ancient sigh. 2-6 Tribulations realm, one can't see through, neither is a local powerhouse in the sky world. After the voice in the hall sounded, the thrones rose from the ground, and there was a majestic figure sitting above. The 3 thrones are at the top. Click. A crisp voice sounded, and 3 pairs of eyes opened. At the same time he looked at the person who spoke. "Chao Ge, are you guarding the immortal temple this time?" "Sir God." The young figure who was replaced by Chao Ge walked out of the darkness and bowed slightly to the 3 thrones. These are the 3 gods of the immortal temple. It is also the super existence that opened up the immortal temple at the beginning. Chao Ge is nothing but the executor of this immortal temple. Now that something unusual happened, summon 3 ancient gods. And say what he is monitoring. The 3 gods sat on the top, standing still. After listening to Cheage's report, some couldn't sit still. 6 Tribulations realm. Crushing the peak of 7 Tribulations realm? Yes, there is another 6 Tribulation realm who has not shot. But his divine power is also more than 1. 5 million. Chao Ge told them one by one. In his opinion, the most mysterious thing is the green-skinned boy, who can't even see the immortal temple. Dan Bao. The 3 gods have been collecting for a long time, and said, since they are not people from the heavenly world, they probably came from the sky, just caught them back, and asked about some things from the gods. They cannot be allowed to enter the Sea of Cosmos. This matter, you do it yourself. Yes. Chao Ge immediately took the order. Over the years, the source of life in the vault of heaven great world has been cut off. They have been thinking about how to go to God. Now that I meet 3 cultivators who are suspected of coming from God, I naturally have to arrest them and ask. The 6 Tribulations realm is comparable to the 8 Tribulations realm. This is also their first encounter. And there is one who cannot even be monitored by the immortal temple, which is obviously extraordinary. Either it was an existence beyond their cognition, or it was because of some kind of treasure. If it is an existence beyond cognition, it will be even better. At that time, it will not be caught, but will be asked for advice. So this time to go to the song, you must be careful. Get to know each other's bottom line first, and then do it. These things do not need the 3 gods to explain. He can figure it out himself. From the temple, 10 sleeping messengers of the 8 Tribulations realm were summoned, and Chao Ge set off towards Jian Wushuang and the others. Immortal Temple, created by the 3 gods. Chapter 5937. In every era, there will be a master of the 8 Tribulations realm universe. In this era, Chao Ge was in command of the Immortal Temple. Moreover, as long as you join the 8 Tribulations of the Immortal Temple, you will never fall. The origin of the Immortal Temple is also because of this. Eternal existence. Divine power is immortal. This has a great relationship with the source inside the Immortal Temple. The power of life will continue to be born inside. As long as you sleep in the Immortal Temple, not only will you not lose your vitality, but you will slowly regain your vitality. It's a pity that the source of the Immortal Temple also began to dry up. Although a lot of life force was saved at the beginning, it was not enough. No choice but to send the strong to go to the Sea of Cosmos to find treasures of life, and put them into the Temple of Immortality. It can be regarded as the predecessors planted trees, and the later generations to enjoy the shade. It's all about preparing for the future. The current lord of the 8 tribulations of the universe went to the Cosmos Sea, and the power of life received would be donated to the immortal temple for free. If you fail to cross the calamity, you will be able to enter the immortal temple. The 10 messengers of the gods summoned by Chowga. They are all the masters of the 8 tribulations realm universe, who failed to transcend the calamity at the beginning. Now that the universe is gone, it is actually no different from the powerhouses in the outside world. It's just that the powerhouses in the 8 tribulations realm from the outside world have a high probability of falling when they reach their age. The birth of Wanlu universe is many times older than Guyu space-time. The envoys of the gods who were summoned were all the powerhouses of the 8 tribulations realm countless times ago. The departure of these powerhouses is very secret. It wasn't until he got close to Jian Wushuang and others that he was discovered. Someone is behind. The first to discover was Danbao. His sensitivity to life is stronger than Jian Wushuang. The first to discover the powerhouse behind the immortal temple. Jian Wushuang and the others have just reached the top of the Wangxinghai, where the Sea of Cosmos is located. There is still an hour away from the entrance. Several days have passed since he came out of the Jinwu dynasty. Unexpectedly, he was about to enter the Sea of Cosmos, and was stared at. The first thing that comes to mind is the Temple of Immortality. In addition to this organization, Jian Wushuang thought of others. It is the other party who has the courage to chase after him. Don't panic, they can't catch up. Jian Wushuang's brows twitched. He had already kept his backhand, and did not use full speed, for fear of being stared at. I have been on guard for a long time. How can I not stay behind? Whoa! The candle dragon's wings spread out, and a magnificent universe descended from the sky. Space shuttle. All things gather and descend. The origin universe of Jian Wushuang comes. Hundreds of thousands of black holes are connected to form stars, and the 4 secret realms guard the space and time of the universe. This scene shocked Chao Ge, who was chasing after him. Cosmic Dojo. He is the lord of the 8 tribulations realm universe, and can find them. This is the scariest. At this time, they are still a long way from Jian Wushuang. Only the outline of Jian Wushuang's origin universe can be seen. Before we can see clearly, the universe will disappear in the next moment. Only one ripple was left. Traveling through the universe is not as simple as it literally means. Jian Wushuang is traveling with his own universe, and every time is the distance of his own origin universe. The speed is the best in the world, much faster than the previous 3-quake universe. To put it bluntly, before Jian Wushuang's candle dragon wings had to fly 3 times. Now 1 time is the distance of a universe. Moreover, his universe is much larger than the universe of the Lord of the Universe in the 8 tribulations realm, equal to a 3-fold increase in speed. The speed of a space-time hall, where Chao Ge was riding, could have been able to catch up with Jian Wushuang, and it could also cover up their breath. But he did not expect to be discovered suddenly. Not chasing now, nor not chasing. Their goal is the Sea of the Universe, informed the gods. Chao Ge gritted his teeth. He had planned everything, but he was thrown away before he showed up. It can only notify the 3 gods. Only the 3 gods can prevent Jian Wushuang from entering the Sea of Cosmos. After Jian Wushuang really entered the Universe Sea, even if the gods came, Jian Wushuang would not be found. The vastness of the cosmic sea is filled with countless heavenly worlds, where is boundless, no end in sight. The space is infinite, and time cannot calculate the years of existence of the cosmic sea, because there is no trace of age. Immortal Temple, the great hall that had not moved for hundreds of millions of years, began to tremble at this moment. Go for yourself. The 3 gods were a little helpless. When the source of life was not broken, they could manipulate the Temple of Immortality at will. But not anymore, because the power used by the Immortal Temple is the power of life. Every startup costs a lot of money. I didn't care before, but now I live my life carefully, so I don't dare to waste it anymore. It's just that in order to investigate the fact that the source of life has been cut off, facing 3 mysterious cultivators, and their strength is very strange. Originally, the result of the investigation of the Immortal Temple was only the sixth tribulations realm. Now it can bring its own cosmic dojo. This is what the master of the eight tribulations realm universe can do. And that universe is huge. It doesn't look like the eight tribulations realm. The three gods watching in the Temple of Immortality all noticed Dan Bao. Because he couldn't see through, he pushed all these things down on Dan Bao. Thanks, since they have to flee facing Chaoga. There is nothing to be afraid of, just go to the entrance of the Cosmos Sea and block them. Go! The three gods manipulated the immortal temple together. And in just an instant, they reached the sky above a certain sea area. Below is the endless blue sea. There is a huge black hole in the convenience. There are countless vortices in the black hole, as if it can swallow everything. This is the entrance to the cosmic sea. The entrance that was accidentally broken open by the two super-existences. The origin of the immortal temple also started from here. The emergence of the cosmic sea has made the practitioners of the Vault of Heaven world even stronger. The three gods even obtained the immortal temple from the Sea of Cosmos. With the power of life in the immortal temple, they ruled the entire Vault of Heaven world. Although there are some special lives, there is no need to transcend tribulation, but they are different from the special beings in the outside world. The special beings in the outside world can use divine power treasures to enhance their divine power. But the special life here needs the power of life to enhance its divine power. This is actually a consensus. Almost everyone knows it. So much, so that Zhen Wuyang forgot to tell Jian Wushuang about this. If Jian Wushuang knew this, he would be extremely shocked. If you devour the power of life, it will be transformed into infinite divine power. Some things can be said. Those who rely on the power of devouring life to enhance their divine power can only think of destroying life. These special beings were bred from the Wanlu universe. It was terrible. The layout is too deep. Immortal temple, suspended above the sea, waiting for Jian Wushuang to arrive. The three gods stood on the white stone slab of the temple. Chapter 59:38. In fact, there are not many palaces in the entire immortal temple, and the surrounding area is a flat ground covered with white stone slabs. Come on, it's really fast. The three gods looked together. A huge elliptical universe in the distance is constantly shrinking and shrinking, shifting the distance of one universe each time. Jian Wushuang constantly vibrated the candle dragon's wings, relied on space to move, and was about to reach the entrance of the universe sea. But stopped at this moment. Wu Li looked surprised and asked, "Why did you stop?" Someone. Without waiting for Jian Wushuang to speak, Dan Bao explained the reason. This time Jian Wushuang also felt it. In fact, if you look better you can see it. In his own universe, he brought a life robbery and performed a super ancient transformation. Now his divine power has reached a terrifying 6 million. His eyes penetrated almost everything. Naturally, you can see a circular temple suspended above the sea. A sphere, divided into two pieces. This is the temple he saw. Dan Bao, can you see how many strong people are above? A lot of. Dan Bao's answer was succinct. But Jian Wushuang was not calm. A lot of. Then it's not over. How did these guys find us? Jian Wushuang was puzzled. And now he had no choice, and the road was blocked. If you want to enter the universe sea, there is only this way. Now that you are blocked, you can only face it. He didn't believe these people, they came to kill him. If you can't hide, just go and see. There is no murderous aura in that hall, so it shouldn't be bad for us. Dan Bao added. However, I can feel that the inner origin of that temple is related to life. Treasure of life? Jian Wushuang frowned. His robbery armor is also related to life. He could feel a resonance just now, but it was very weak. He didn't care. Now Dan Bao said that there is the origin of life in that temple. That would prove that he felt right. It is a special treasure of life. Wanlu universe is indeed unusual. This kind of treasure can be born. If it is obtained from the outside world, I am afraid that the entire northern time and space will be snatched. No wonder people from the outside crowded their heads and wanted to come in. The treasures here really cannot be viewed with ordinary people's eyes. Jian Wushuang's eyes were hot. Although Jiejia has some resonance with that temple, it is a similar treasure. But overall, compared to this temple, his robbery armor is just as tattered. There is no comparison at all. However, for the sake of safety, he still took the robbery armor and returned to normal, and the origin universe slowly disappeared. Simply use the candle dragon's wings to quickly approach the temple. The other party can wait for them so calmly. There is absolute certainty. Go head to head again, there is no chance. Rather than face it honestly. If it's really bad for them, it's not too late to make a move. If the other party had no idea about them at first, but the one who used the knife and the gun followed, wouldn't it be asking for trouble? It is enough to be prepared. If you really want to do it, you will be able to rise to the peak in an instant. Swish! The three figures reached the edge of the temple and stopped slowly. There are three of them, and the opposite is also three. Boom! Just as he stabilized his body, the thunder rolled in the sky, and the lightning connected into a line, surrounding the surroundings, and the shocking space was trembling. Then a group of people loomed in the thunder and lightning. It was Chaoga and others. Jian was double eyelids twitched, glanced at it and ignored it. Thinking about it with his ass, he knew that these people were in the same group as the people in the temple. Three seniors. I don't know what's stopping me from waiting. What's the matter? Jian Wushuang asked directly, not wanting to go around with the other party. He could see that the other party did not intend to kill. Probably just trying to find out their identities. Better to be honest. In the current battle, even if he has a lot of cards, he doesn't have any chance to turn around. What's more, Dan Bao's shield of life has not recovered. Can't hit hard. Where are you from? Where are you going? Above the shrine, three gods sat on the throne, imposingly arrogant. Come from above, go to the Sea of Cosmos. Jian Wushuang pointed to God. The meaning is clear. These are the powerhouses in the Vault of Heaven world. And he can't tell the other party that he is from the outside world. It is estimated that they will not believe it. Rather, it is from God. Why are you here? The immortal sitting on the left stared at Jian Wushuang with slightly narrowed eyes. Come here unintentionally. They don't want to come here either. I just want to go to God. Or follow the great monk. Only the other party knows where the ladder of becoming is. Come here unintentionally? The three gods were stunned, but they could see that Jian Wushuang was not lying. At their level, if you want to deceive the three of them, you can see the flaws before you even open your mouth. Chaoga slowly fell above the temple at this time, cupped his hands and said, Sir God, some people related to this person on Emperor Zenwa's side have already been brought under control. They prepared both hands. What Jian Wushuang did in the Jinwu dynasty has long been watched by the Immortal Temple. Since he wanted to find out the details of Jian Wushuang, he was naturally prepared. I said, it's just unintentional, it's useless for you to catch them. Jian Wushuang was a little anxious. Not the powerhouse of the Immortal Temple. It's as simple as catching Zhenmiang and Jinwu the Great. Rather, he sensed the other's intentions. He helped Emperor Jinwu regain his vitality and exposed the power of life. Originally thought that in the Wanlu universe, the power of life is not rare. But now it seems that it is different from what he thought. The power of life is precious everywhere. Although it is easy to obtain the power of life in the world of the sky, it consumes a lot. No one knows how many sleeping 8 tribulations realm powerhouses there are in the Immortal Temple. And these people need the power of life to maintain. The power of life not only maintains the vitality of the sanctuary realm, but is also a necessity for special life to enhance the divine power. Speaking of which, the power of life is more useful than the outside world. Jian Wushuang is afraid of this. If you stare at their life force, you will have to fight to the death. Wu Li couldn't help but said at this time. What do you want to say? Just say it directly, don't go around. He was not afraid. Because the big monk is even more desolate than them, he must be approaching them. Don't be afraid if there is help. Arrogant. Seeing that Wu Li dared to speak rudely to the immortal god, Chao Ge was about to take action immediately. Don't be rude. Chao Ge, who was about to start, stopped and stood to the side honestly. The three gods changed their thoughts and had plans in private. House arrest. Now that you know that it came from God, you have to ask God about it. Since the three guests are here, let's stay. Chapter 5939. The skinny old man sitting in the middle slowly raised his hand and pointed, and the time and space instantly froze. Jian Wushuang's eyes widened in disbelief. In this hand just now, there was no divine power fluctuation, but it was able to stop time and space. Definitely stronger than the great monk and the Shinmu king. He couldn't even resist. It's over. This time it's really big. When he met such a strong man, he had no hope of escaping. It's still a good idea. It's better to run away, at least to be able to deal with it. There is no way to escape now. Fortunately, the other party did not intend to kill, just wanted to keep them. Don't resist. Jian Wushuang shook his head to Wu Li and Dan Bao. At the same time, he was thinking about countermeasures. How to get out. With the opponent's combat power, even if the monk and the Shinmu king found them, it would be useless. Can't save them at all. Unless Qi Jiuxiao comes, it will be able to fight. The key point is that Qi Jiuxiao is not the same as them. Can only think of countermeasures. You don't have to worry. The skinny old man swiped his finger and sent Jian Wushuang and the others directly into the immortal temple. We just want to know some things in the gods. If you cooperate well, I guarantee that you will be fine. Jian Wushuang sighed. Seniors, feel free to ask what you want to know, and I will answer truthfully, but we really have urgent things to do. This time he was almost pleading. Really want to deduct a few of them. I don't know when I can leave. Although he has time, it is not such a waste. Introduce myself. My name is Jiang Wuya, and I am one of the pioneers of the Immortal Temple. I can assure you that as long as you cooperate, everything will be easy to say. Jian Wushuang is in a hurry. They are in a hurry too. The matter of the source of life, it can be related to their life and death. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. His expression became more solemn, and then asked, Senior Jiang, if you have anything to ask, just say it. Okay. Jiang Wuya pinched his beard with his skinny paws and said all the words he had prepared earlier. The main thing is to ask God if there is some kind of change. On the contrary, he did not ask how Jian Wushuang came to be, because they can also see that Jian Wushuang and the others have secrets, and they won't really tell them. It's better to ask about your own interests. God. Jian Wushuang pretended to be relaxed, but in reality he panicked more than anyone else. How does he know what God is like? But looking at the other party's appearance, I'm afraid I don't know much about God. Simply began to fabricate a huge ancient world of God. Then bring out that mishap. Misfortune. Naturally, the metal life has eroded the willow tree. This is not a secret. Even if it is said, it is fine. These powerhouses within the Wanlu universe cannot possibly have an affair with metal beings. After the three gods heard the invasion of metal life, they suddenly changed. Then it directly blocked time and space. Escaped into the interior of the temple. Is metal life related to the pyramid we saw? Impossible. Jiang Wuya directly retorted. That pyramid is just a treasure. How could it be life? That kid has said that it is a metal life. Not a regular life, but a special life. It is very possible. I have long suspected that the source is cut off, and it has something to do with that pyramid. The source of life in the Immortal Temple has dried up. In fact, there are traces to follow, but they have no evidence. The Immortal Temple in the peak period could enter and exit the Universe Sea at will. At the beginning, they used the Immortal Temple to search for treasures in the Universe Sea. No matter how powerful and dangerous the land is, you can take the Immortal Temple and break into it. The last time, it was because I hit a pyramid. They thought it was a treasure, but they couldn't take it away. Just hit it with the Temple of Immortality. As a result, no matter how much you hit it, it couldn't be shaken. Finally gave up. Back in the Vault of Heaven world, it didn't take long for the source of life of the Immortal Temple to dry up. They thought so at first. Later, as treasures such as life became less in the Vault of Heaven world, there was no more doubt. According to what Jian Wushuang said now, it is very likely that some kind of accident occurred at that time. They accidentally triggered some kind of ban. The pyramid has since disappeared. At that time, I felt that it was taken away by someone else. Now it seems that there is a metal life inside the pyramid, and they used the Immortal Temple to collide, which awakened the metal life inside. If the Real King knew that it was the metal life they released, they would probably jump and curse. In fact, when Wanlu Shenmu was brought over by Weiss, this pyramid was in the Sea of Cosmos. Just kept sealed. It was because the immortal temple broke the restriction that the metal life was released. The three stared wide-eyed. I thought that something happened to God, but it turned out to be because of my own reasons. For a while some could not accept it. Whoa. The three returned to Jian Wushuang, this time with a more friendly attitude. Three little friends, how much do you know about this metal life? Jian Wushuang said indifferently. Actually, there are not many. I don't even know its specific location. I just want to try my luck in the Cosmos Sea. The Realm King said at the beginning that metal life is eating away the source of life of Wanlu. Then it's probably inside the source. That is, the interior of the Cosmic Sea. Where is the ladder of becoming a god? If you want to become a god, you cannot avoid metal life. In fact, when Danbao becomes the of life, it will be easier to deal with metal life. Unfortunately, the deal will not agree. This metal life does not understand anything. It is the powerhouse from other time and space. Maybe they know more than they do. The three gods looked at each other. Now the truth is out. If you don't deceive yourself, you can even go to the Sea of Cosmos to find metal life. Since this is the case, then it is my duty to wait. Although I don't know how this metal life appeared, it is also threatening the world of the sky. This matter is not only about your powerhouses, but we will also do it ourselves. Jiang Wuya said impassively, I can't wait to find the metal life immediately, and go directly to the opponent. Jian Wushuang didn't expect the opponent's pattern to be so big. He thought that the other party would not believe it, or that he had to be more euphemistic. No idea. There was no intention of asking for help. The other party immediately agreed. Also take the initiative to kill metal life. Bright Willows. Senior Gaoyi. Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief, and couldn't help but feel a little excited in his heart. Benefactor, this hall is not simple. Danbao suddenly transmitted a voice at this time, because he felt a wave from inside the temple. Chapter 5940. After he entered the temple, the breath of life began to rise slowly. It is related to the origin of his life. After hearing Danbao's voice transmission, Jian Wushuang didn't move and secretly voiced, What's wrong? In this hall, there is a source of life, but it is blocked by some kind of prohibition. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed. The source of life is a treasure. It is no less than the power of innate life, and it is also the power of life like the source. He also tried his best to restrain himself. This kind of treasure is not something they can touch, at least not now. Try to be restrained. Now is not the time to talk about this. When the great monk and the King Shenmu arrive, we are qualified to talk about this. Danbao nodded secretly and said nothing more. This treasure is indeed of great use to him. Jian Wushuang can feel the resonance, even by relying on Jiejia, not to mention Danbao, the defending of life. If it is really useful to Danbao, then we will have to wait for the big monks to arrive before they have the confidence to study it. I am afraid that I have not spoken yet, and will be destroyed by these people. The three gods, since they said they want to help them find metal life, are people on the same boat. Still have to be treated well. The search for metal life is urgent. The three gods first asked Chaoga to inform the masters of the 8 tribulations in the universe to inquire about the news, and then politely invited Jian Wushuang and others to the inner hall. Said to rest. In fact, it is also a disguised house arrest. Although Jian Wushuang was anxious, there was no better way. In fact, if Danbao goes to the Sea of Cosmos, it is easiest to find metal life. After all, it has the source of life. It's too slow to let the masters of the universe in the immortal temple find it. One day in the sky is reincarnated. The great monk took Shenmu Wang and others around for 3 days before entering the Sea of Cosmos. Jian Wushuang stayed in the Temple of Immortality for 3 full reincarnations. People are going crazy. This day, inside a side hall of the Immortal Temple, Jian Wushuang was drinking and chatting with Wu Li, and all-day retreats were not very helpful for cultivation. And now that he can't get out, He is either studying life in his own origin universe, or wandering in the temple. Today, I happened to meet Wuli going out of customs, and the two chatted casually. Suddenly, there was a rush of footsteps outside the hall. Wuli immediately put down the wine glass, and turned to look outside the hall. "Too sorry to bother you." The visitor let out a light laugh and hurried in. Over the years, the two of them have also gained an understanding of some of the powerhouses in the Immortal Temple. Except for the 3 gods, Immortal Temple and 10 Immortal Kings. Chauga is just one of them. These 10 Dharma Kings have all commanded the Immortal Temple. Personal strength. The weakest is the top of the 8 Tribulations realm. The person in front of him is the person in charge of the last Immortal Temple. Strength is not weak. Chauga, Nanxing Dharma King, Jian Wushuang and Wuli got up at the same time. The other party is the master of the universe of the 8 Tribulations realm. Because of the appearance of Chauga, he abdicated, and then went to the Sea of Cosmos to venture further, wanting to go further. Unfortunately, every step of the 8 Tribulations realm is difficult. Among the masters of the universe, he is considered the top of the 8 Tribulations realm. But when it comes to divine power, it starts with 1,000,000. It is definitely the peak combat power of the 8 Tribulations realm. This is the power of the Lord of the universe. For such a strong man, Jian Wushuang and Wuli naturally did not dare to neglect. Dharma King Nanxing raised his hand and said, "Don't be restrained, sit down and talk." Jian Wushuang and Wuli also sat down, and at the same time they were looking forward to it. There may be some good news. In their second epoch in the Temple of the Immortal, they almost found the location of the metal life. They have already captured the breath, but when they waited for the people to go, the pyramid had already disappeared. Later, the 3 gods went in to look for it in person, but they were never found again. But it also gave them hope. Now all the sleeping powerhouses of the 8 Tribulations realm in the Immortal Temple have been summoned, all thrown into the Sea of Cosmos. The 3 gods are actually more anxious than them, because life force is about so many things. Over the years, Jian Wushuang has also learned about the 3 major gods, not the 3 tribulations, but special life. This is also the reason why the opponent is so powerful. The surface combat power is stronger than that of the Great Monk. I am afraid that the 3 of them together can be tied with Qi Jiuxiao. You must know that the Great Monk and the Shenmu King will all fall in front of Qi Jiuxiao. Special life. Growth is still much higher than that of practitioners. The same level can be seen. I came to you this time because of the manpower problem. You didn't need to go there originally. It's just that a new secret realm has recently appeared in the Sea of Cosmos. Lord, they do not lack the power of life, they lack the opportunity. So Jian Wushuang nodded and said solemnly, "Understandable." Saying this on the face, my heart has long been happy. He has long wanted to enter the Sea of Cosmos. Even those who follow the Immortal Temple, he will enter. Staying in the Temple of the Immortal is not a long-term solution at all. In the blink of an eye, 3 epochs have passed. There is still no news about the Great Monk and Shenmu Wang. Not only was Wushuang anxious, Wuli was even more anxious. How long would it take if it was stuck here forever? South Saint Dharma King, what do you need the 3 of us to do? Just say it. Although Jian Wushuang was excited in his heart, he still had to restrain himself. Otherwise, the other party must think that he has a ghost in his heart. In fact, the Immortal Temple is of great use to Jian Wushuang and the others, so they may not necessarily think about escaping. Danbao has a special method to find metal life, and at that time, he can use the power of the Immortal Temple to eradicate metal life. With their current situation, even if they escaped and reconciled with the Great Monk and others, they would not be able to solve the metal life. At the beginning, still a little careless. I feel that Wanlu universe, no matter how powerful it is, will not be more powerful than the powerhouses in the ancient moon space-time. But now it seems that they think too much. In a single vault of heaven world, the powerhouses of the 8 tribulations have survived to this day, and there are at least 5 lords of the universe in the 8 tribulations that Jian Wushuang has seen. Moreover, there are many special lives of the 8 tribulations realm that are just as powerful. Not to mention scattered calamities, but to say that the number of these powerhouses is comparable to that of ancient moon spacetime. That's not even counting God. Otherwise there will be more. At first, they felt that with the presence of the great monk and the king of Shinmu, everything could be solved. But with the threat of metal life, they have to face Baby D. Passive. I have been walking all the time, and I am passive when encountering many things. In the final analysis, Jian Wushuang's strength is not enough. In other words, what he encountered was beyond what he should have been able to bear. Chapter 59-41. However, without these things and opportunities, he could not have become so powerful. Everything is fair. Jian Wushuang did not complain. Under the guidance of the Southern Saint Dharma King, they once again met the three gods. This time, they will follow Nanxing Dharma King and take over Chaoga to go to the depths of the universe to search for metal life. In the past, the three gods would not do this. But after knowing the reason for the drying up of the source of life, I became more anxious. I didn't feel anything at first, but the more I waited, the more chaotic it became. Because of worry. I am worried that even treasures such as life will not appear in the future. By then they will be gone. The Temple of Immortality relies on the word immortality. Without the power of life, immortality becomes a joke. Unable to protect themselves. So they will be anxious. Although the Lord of the Universe in the Eight Tribulations realm is not in a hurry, there is also the whimper of the death of the rabbit and the fox. Sooner or later one day, he will also follow in his footsteps. No one dared to say that they would step into the Nine Tribulations realm. For some reason, the Nine Tribulations realm is like a shackle, firmly controlling the Lord of the Universe. Always insurmountable. Northern time and space, 9 core time and space rivers. There are only 3 superpowers that have existed since ancient times. But these 3 people were called puppets by Weiss. It can be seen. These 3 ancient existences are probably not the experts of the Nine Tribulations realm, but have become eternal existences for some reason. The powerhouse who can really show up and show the combat power of the Nine Tribulations has never appeared at all. There may be such existences in other time and space, or in the starry sky. But north time and space there should be no. This may have something to do with the law. The goal of the 3 gods is actually not the Nine Tribulations realm, but to break through all laws, beyond space and time, forge eternity. The premise of wanting to do this is the power of life, and the operation of the Temple of Immortality. Relying on cultivation alone is basically in vain. Jian Wushuang and the others don't understand this, so naturally they don't understand, and they foolishly think that these 3 gods just want to save their lives. Talked a few words with the 3 gods. It is still a superficial cliché as always, and there is no substantive information leaked. Mainly worried that Jian Wushuang took the opportunity to escape. Said some good things. For Jian Wushuang, these words are useless. His left ear goes in his right ear. Finally, after expressing his loyalty, he followed Nanxing Dharma King and left. Out of the Temple of Immortality. It is the entrance to the cosmic sea. The reason why it didn't move is because the power of life can't be wasted anymore. And it's good to be blocked at the entrance of the universe sea. Several teams took turns to go to the Sea of Cosmos to search for metal life. By the way, you can also find some treasures, such as this newly discovered secret realm. Just a big discovery. The secret realm floated from the depths of the Cosmos Sea, and it happened to be discovered by Chaoga and others, and naturally he took people in. And there are still not enough manpower. This made Jian Wushuang 3 come out and do some activity. Of course, it's not just because of this. Think back to what the 3 gods said. Especially for Dan Bao's eyes. It can be seen that there is doubt in his eyes, because they can't see through Dan Bao. I think Dan Bao is very special. That's why Jian Wushuang took people to try. Maybe the metal life can be found. This time, as long as it is discovered, the location will be transmitted to the 3 major gods, the Immortal Temple, and it will come instantly. No matter where it is in the Sea of Cosmos, as long as there is enough life force in the Immortal Temple, it can be reached in an instant. With this guarantee, Jian Wushuang and the others were relieved. As long as you are responsible for looking for it, you will notify the three gods when you find it, and you don't need them to take action. Even Jian Wushuang has thought about it, and when the time comes, they will be able to take the opportunity to escape when the three gods fight against the metal life. This is the best plan. It's a pity that every plan is good, but it's difficult to perform when you encounter it. Whoa! Dharma King Nanxing stood in front of the entrance to the Sea of Cosmos. His hands were sealed, and he played an unknown secret method. The entrance to the universe sea was blocked. This is... Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. Looking at the ordinary entrance, after the seal was formed, a wave appeared. Then he felt the surging divine power erupt from it. Dharma King Nanxing said indifferently, "Why, haven't you felt the power of the universe sea?" "I'm just curious that the mark of the Dharma King turns out to be the key to this entrance. If I had been foolish enough to enter, I would have been stopped." Jian Wushuang naturally won't say anything about the universe sea, so as not to expose himself. At that moment he was really startled. The violent power kept blowing out from the entrance. Could it be that the whole universe is like this? Jian Wushuang was secretly surprised, his eyes flashed, and there was shock in his eyes. Behind Wu Li, his eyes widened even more, for fear that others would not be able to tell that they had never been to the Sea of Cosmic Universe. Jian Wushuang couldn't help but let out a dry cough, and reminded the other party, "Don't be ashamed. It's like they don't know anything." Fortunately, Danbao is calm enough, and the Southern Saint Dharma King has been talking to Jian Wushuang, but his eyes are on Danbao. After the entrance to the Sea of Cosmos was opened, it didn't take long for a number of powerhouses in the 8 Tribulations realm to appear in the entrance. These 8 Tribulation realm powerhouses are all scattered tribulations. Every billion years it is rotated. The rest of the Cosmos Masters of the 8 Tribulations followed Chaoga to the newly appeared secret realm. These powerhouses of the 8 Tribulations had very little vitality, and it was okay to search for metal life. Just fight. The universe sea is transformed by divine power. Flying above will consume a lot of divine power, which is no less than fighting. These scattered tribulations must come back to cultivate once every 100 million years. Otherwise the vitality will be consumed too much, and I am afraid that they will fall asleep directly. The 100 million years in the outside world, in the interior of the universe, is an era of time, so it is necessary to rotate. In order to find metal life, the 3 gods of the immortal temple gathered a large group of the lords of the 7 tribulations of the universe, and went to the cosmos to search. It's just that the thought power of these people is too weak compared to the 8 tribulations realm. A dead skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Although the robbery has lost its origin, the power of thought is still there. An 8 tribulation realm can top a group of 7 tribulation realm. But Jian Wushuang is different. His mind power is no worse than that of the master of the 8 tribulations realm universe. This is also why the 3 gods indicated the reason why they wanted him to go. And Danbao, since he became a candidate for the god of life and refined that treasure, his mind power is even more terrifying. Danbao can feel the power that he can't feel. Nansheng, I'll leave it to you. The returning 8 tribulation realm powerhouse said hello, glanced at Jian Wushuang and the others, and then turned to enter the immortal temple. Nansheng smiled lightly. Jian Wushuang, let's go too. Chapter 5942. N. Jian Wushuang nodded. This time, in addition to the 4 of them, there are also 5 scattered tribulations from the 8 tribulations realm. 9 people in total. It's time to find out separately, but the 3 of them will be separated. This is also to prevent Jian Wushuang and others from escaping in partnership. Although the scope of the cosmic sea is large, it is gathered by divine power. It is impossible to detect the fluctuation of divine power at all. Only some special imprints can feel their respective positions. Swish! Several figures entered the entrance instantly. Everyone only felt that a gust of wind blew across their faces, and they had entered the Sea of Cosmos. It looks indistinguishable from the sea outside. All are light blue, but the breath is different. Cosmic sea. It is the ocean of divine power. It has a great repressive force for these divine power cultivators. If you fly above, you will feel tired. No wonder those 8 tribulation realms have to come back to rest and recover. And the threshold to enter the universe, see, is millions of divine power. This threshold is very high. It is basically the threshold of the 7 tribulations realm. There is no 7 tribulations realm. And if you come, you will die. It's okay to wander around, but once you go deep, you'll fall if you don't encounter any danger. Jian Wushuang looked at the boundless sea of cosmos, and his heart was extremely shocked, and said with emotion, "It would be great if such a huge ocean of divine power could be swallowed." Haha, everyone thinks this way. Such a large universe sea, let alone swallowing it all up. As long as you master 1/10,000th of it, you can be invincible in the world. King Nansheng laughed lightly. He had this idea at the beginning. That was the first time he stepped into the sea of cosmos, and the elders of the family brought him here. And he was the master of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm. I want to see this cosmic sea. But just in the periphery, I felt infinite pressure. Not to mention swallowing it up. It is an extravagant hope to be able to look forward to it in the sea of cosmos. At present, he is also the master of the universe in the 8 tribulations realm, and can live normally in the universe, or a special life in the 8 tribulations realm. The rest can't stay long. Okay, we should set off. Not far from here, there is a teleportation array. We will first go through the teleportation array, go to the inner circle, and then split up to find it. Nansheng Dharma King explained, and everyone flew towards the teleportation formation. The teleportation array here was built by the 3 original gods to save time on the road. It is a shortcut for those 7 tribulations realm. With these teleportation arrays, the Lord of the 7 tribulations realm universe can also go deep into the depths of the universe. Emperor Zhenwu, a scattered robbery, has the combat power of half a step in 8 tribulations. It is because he wandered in the sea of cosmos that he obtained a huge turtle shell and created the secret method of Zhenwu, achieved the half-step 8 robbery realm. It can be said that as long as you enter the depths of the cosmos sea, you can get the same chance if you are lucky. This is also why so many cultivators come forward to come in. Emperor Zhenwu tried his best to lose his vitality, and almost brought down the Zhenwu dynasty, just to go to the depths of the universe to compete for a treasure. If he succeeded, he might be able to take another half-step. After all, it was a robbery. Although the combat power was still half a step in 8 tribulations, the room for improvement was limited. Even so, you have to fight. The Sea of Cosmos has to be said to be a magical place, fascinating. See the essence through the cosmic sea. In fact, the same is true of Wanlu Shenmu. Outside, cultivators are obsessed with Wanlu Shenmu. Inside, it is obsessed with the depths of the cosmic sea, because there are powerful treasures flowing out. Taking the teleportation array, everyone quickly reached the depths of the universe sea. The span of each transmission is very large. If you fly slowly, I am afraid it will take several epochs. This time span, even the Lord of the 7 tribulations realm universe can't bear it. The 8 tribulation realm powerhouses who are still at their peak can do it, because the speed is fast enough. Jian Wushuang made a rough calculation. In the state of his infinite divine power, I am afraid it will take an era. If only he had been let in. Just flying is enough. I don't know what happened to the great monk in Shenmu Wang. If they really entered the sky, relying on Bruce's causal induction, they should be able to find out that they are in the heavenly world. It's just a hassle when to find them. The world of the sky is different from the time and space of God. But the space-time of the cosmic sea is stable. As long as they all enter the cosmic sea, the flow rate is the same. What Jian Wushuang didn't know was that the great monk and Shenmu Wang had already entered the Sea of Cosmos, and it has been drifting in the cosmic sea for hundreds of epochs. The cosmic sea, the sky is round and the place is round. No matter where you enter from the entrance, it is on the other side. Jian Wushuang and the others can ride the teleportation array. However, the Shenmu King and the great monk did not have a teleportation formation and could only fly. Fortunately, Danbao helped them regain their peak, and they also got a lot of fruits of life. Otherwise you will be exhausted. Jian Wushuang was also worried. But he underestimated the methods of the great monk and Shenmu Wang. At this time, in the depths of the Cosmos Sea, a mysterious realm of dead vines is floating. On the outside, it is a withered vine. But the inside is a cave. King Shenmu, the great monk and others are on this vine. When they first entered the cosmic sea, they just felt a little special, and were curious about how the cosmic sea was formed. The great monk deliberately concealed it. Because of the horror of this cosmic sea, he is the clearest. If they only rely on flying to find Jian Wushuang and the others, I am afraid that all but the monk himself will be exhausted. If you say it, I am afraid no one will dare to come in. Fortunately, they encountered a floating vine in the depths of the cosmic sea. It's a secret cave. Take the opportunity to enter this secret realm. Rely on this vine to keep drifting, and save your own divine power. Otherwise, before meeting the metal life, you will be exhausted first. Coincidentally, the secret realm they were in happened to be met by Chaoga and others, who were looking for metal life. Now I am trying to find a way to break through the secret realm, to find treasures. There are indeed treasures inside the cave, but they have been cleaned up by the great monk and the king of Shenmu. Nothing is left. Therefore, Jian Wushuang's worries are unnecessary. Not only did he not tire himself, but he even made a fortune in blood. Everyone ate their mouths full of oil. Divine power greatly increased. The interior of the withered vine cave is devastated. There are many huge dead trees without any vitality. Of course, this is not what the Shenmu king and the others did, but it is the way it is. But under these dead trees, they received a lot of fruit hearts. That is the fruit heart left after the fruit evaporates, which is also of great help to the divine power. Withered trees die with each other, which is also of great help to practitioners. It can be said that the whole body is full of treasures. In front of each dead tree, there is a cultivator sitting cross-legged, constantly nibbling away the divine power on the dead tree. Chapter 59:43. On the largest dead tree, two people were sitting cross-legged. Naturally, it is the Shenmu king and the great monk. Only these two people are qualified to occupy absolute resources. For the rest, only soup is served. The two who got the most benefit were a little unsightly at this time. What about the natives outside? It's better to kill it. Absolutely not. The big monk shook his head quickly. Those natives are hitting their attention, and they don't have time to hit those natives. And this is the first time they have met a cultivator. After suffering for such a long time, I finally saw a living person, and I had to go out and talk about anything. It's just that after they go out, in what capacity should they deal with it? You can never say that you are from God. The great monk is an aboriginal powerhouse in Wanlu universe. He knows that it is too difficult for God to enter the heavenly world. The reason why they were able to reach this place smoothly, or because of the demise of God, it has become a world of ice and snow, and has lost its vitality. The gap in the Sea of Cosmos has also been reduced a lot. Then what do you say? The Shenmu king was in a pretentious mood. Over the years, they have been so depressed. They have been looking for Dambao according to Bruce's cause and effect. But there is no news at all. And no matter how he walked, he felt that there was an infinite distance away from Dambao. Hearts are scattered now. How could they not panic? We have to take a long-term view. Since we can meet practitioners here, we are close to the world of the Vault of Heaven. The reason why we feel the distance of the Little Master is because of the isolation of time and space. Once you enter the world of the Vault of Heaven, you can quickly find the Little Master. Them. King Shenmu said angrily. I still use you to teach me? The reason is clear. The key is how to get to the heavenly world. You can't let those people outside lead the way. 3-year-olds will laugh at them if they say this. In the face of unfamiliar powerhouses, who will lead the way? Only hit the opponent and bow their heads, and then take them to the world of the Vault of Heaven. This is also the meaning of Shenmu King. But the monk did not think so, because in the outside world, there are 6 masters of the universe. Each is in the 8 tribulations realm. When they go out, they may not be able to fight. Although King Shenmu had refined that treasure back then, His divine power was stronger than that of the Lord of the Universe, so at best it was 1-to-1 suppression. Counting himself, the two would fight at most 2. But there are 6 lords of the 8 tribulations realm universe outside. There are only 2 options before them now. Go out and fight. Dodge and avoid the battle. At present, this cave is strong, and they can still withstand it. Go out. Only one battle. Because he knew that those lords of the universe came for treasures. Alas, the great monk sighed that the team was not easy to lead. Shinmu King has a lot of confidence. Because this time, he is the biggest gainer. The deadwood here does not help his own combat power much, but it helps his Moyin vines a lot. The Moyin Fujimoto of the Shinmu King has the top combat power of the 8 tribulations realm. Now that he has absorbed deadwood, he is no weaker than his deity, and even stronger. It is also a plant life, and the secret technique has been improved enough. Using Moyin vine, he can sneak attack and quickly kill a Cosmos master in the 8 tribulations realm. If you go out to fight, you may not lose. That's why I advocated going out to fight. Just when the two were at a stalemate, Blue, who was sitting cross-legged in the distance, suddenly opened his eyes. I feel Dan Bao's position, Bruce shouted out directly, and his whole body couldn't help but tremble with excitement. He waited too long for this moment. Dan Bao's position has not moved, although their positions have been approaching, the effect is very small. Now he feels Dan Bao's position, and they are in the same time and space, and the distance is very close. If you go out to fly, at the speed of a great monk, you can find Dan Bao in 10 years. After hearing what Bruce said, everyone looked over. The Shinmu King and the great monk rushed over directly. Not just them. After entering the Sea of Cosmos, Dan Bao also felt Bruce's position. I just kept riding the teleportation array, and the speed was too fast to tell Jian Wushuang. After they stabilized, Dan Bao immediately sent a sound transmission to Jian Wushuang. Found it. Jian Wushuang was overjoyed when he heard Dan Bao's voice transmission. He knew that the big monk and the others must be coming towards them. It's just that the two sides are not in the same time and space, so it feels very far away. As soon as he entered the depths of the universe sea, he felt the position of the other party. Jian Wushuang's voice transmission asked, "How far is it?" 10 years. The same speed as Blue predicted the big monk. The peak speed of the great monk is similar to that of Jian Wushuang's shuttle universe. After hearing this distance, Jian Wushuang pondered. Now find the location of the big monks. He was considering whether to leave the team now and take Dan Bao and others to find the great monk. Once he leaves the Temple of Immortality now, the opponent will definitely chase him. Although they can't catch up with them, it means one more enemy. But he also wanted to reconcile with the great monk and others, which gave him more confidence. That leaves the last solution. Dan Bao, before we leave, you will tell Nanxing Dharma King the location of the great monk and others. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, and he had a plan. Murder with a knife. After Dan Bao heard it, he frowned and said, "Tell Dharma King Nanxing?" He was still a little naive, and couldn't understand Jian Wushuang's words. You just said that you feel the breath of metal life, and you are in that position. I will cooperate with you again at that time. Whether Nanxing Dharma King believes it or not, he will go to check it out. If we follow our comprehensive speed, it will be almost 100 years. At this time, the Southern Saint Dharma King doesn't care at all. Jian Wushuang directly stated the plan in detail, which was actually very simple. Would rather waste time than take the initiative to miss. This is the current state of the Immortal Temple. Facing the tasks of the 3 major gods, the Southern Saint Dharma King did not dare to neglect them at all, and they also knew the dangers of metal life. Besides, Dan Bao has always played a mysterious role. Before entering the Sea of Cosmos, the Southern Saint Dharma King has been staring at Dan Bao, and now it is the same. Although he is not staring at it, there is a mind power that stays on Dan Bao. Now that Dan Bao speaks about his findings, I am afraid that Dharma King Nanxing will definitely care. Don't be afraid that the other party won't do it. Dan Bao took a deep breath and said in a gloomy voice, "Dharma King Nanxing." Kindness. Dharma King Nanxing turned his head to look at Dan Bao for the first time. He was just planning the area, and he was going to have people scattered to search. After hearing Danbao's words, he was stunned. You said you felt the location of the metal life? King Nanshan couldn't believe it. Although I think Danbao is a bit mysterious, but just after entering the Sea of Cosmos, Danbao said that he has found a metal life, which is too strange, and he has doubts in his heart for a while. Chapter 5944. Jian Wushuang looked at the other party, did not believe that he directly stated the coordinates, and then added, South St. Dharma King, but 100 years' journey. Why don't we go and explore? Every search is an epoch of time. 100 years, what is it? Where did you say it was? Dharma King Nanshan didn't care about the 100 years, but was surprised why Danbao discovered the location of the metal life so quickly. Now, after hearing the position reported by Jian Wushuang, he was even more surprised and stayed where he was. Then he took out a token with his backhand, his mind power entered the token, and a phantom appeared on the token, which was the Chao Ge, the master of the universe of the 8 tribulations. You keep the secret realm in the cave. Don't let it run away. It'll take someone there right away. Chao Ge's phantom moved slightly and said in surprise, Would you like to inform Lord God? Not needed for now. After the Dharma King Nanshan said, he put away the token, then turned to look at Jian Wushuang and said, If Lord God comes, the price will be very high, and we need to confirm it again. The location you are talking about is the secret realm of the cave that Chao Ge and the others discovered. Jian Wushuang was surprised. What? How could it be so coincidental? Really let them meet. The secret realm discovered by the great monk, and the king of Shinmu and Chao Ge. Isn't this a flood that washed down the Dragon King temple? Fortunately, the southern Saint Dharma King is more cautious. If this is to let the gods move directly, isn't that just a scammer? I am afraid that the great monk and the king of Shinmu were dumbfounded when they saw them. Bring it in to siege your own people. Funny to think about. Shoot yourself in the foot. They have done this many times. It's such a coincidence every time. Also really unlucky. It seems that you feel right, maybe metal life. It may really be among them. Nanshan Dharma King said with a smile. I didn't expect that this time will be so smooth. Let's hurry up and go. Jian Wushuang and the others could only nod their heads awkwardly. If the Shinmu King and the great monk knew that they were taking a group of 8 tribulations realm to surround them, I don't know what they would think. Although Wu Li didn't know what happened, he felt a little strange, so he secretly said, Brother Wushuang, is this the discovery of metal life? Jian Wushuang didn't want to speak anymore. He followed behind Nanshan Dharma King with a black face, without saying a word. A group of them, relying solely on flying, will take 100 years. 100 years is very fast for them. There are no stops on the way, although there will also be the unique divine beasts of the universe sea. But there is no threat to them. The greatest danger in the cosmic sea is at the bottom of the sea. Those powerful and ancient wild beasts are generally lurking on the bottom of the sea, and will not rush out of the water on their own initiative. Therefore, the wild beasts they encountered were very weak, and they could easily solve them. On the way, Danbao's expression was a little embarrassed. At first, he deceived the southern Saint Dharma King, saying that he had discovered the breath of metal life. But now he seems to have really discovered it. An unusual breath of life. Corrupting vegetation life. Corroded vegetation instantly withered. Scenes and scenes were staged in Danbao's mind. The benefactor, the metal life, is likely to be in the secret realm of the cave. The closer he got, the clearer Danbao felt. At this time, I had to tell Jian Wushuang. There is a 90% chance. Jian Wushuang, who was originally embarrassed, became even more embarrassed when he heard Danbao's words. If the metal life is really in the secret realm of the cave, the gods will definitely come. At that time, how to explain it? And how could the big monk and the Shinmu King be associated with the metal life? Without Danbao's guidance, they couldn't have discovered metal life, right? Everything is weird. If it is a coincidence, it is too coincidental. Now there is no other way but to wait until then. Now he not only wants to quickly solve the metal life, but also wants to quickly reconcile with the great monk and Shinmu Wang and others. But when these two things come together, it becomes a bad thing. And it's still highly overlapped. So it's almost like wearing a pair of pants. Danbao, tell us the truth. Will the gods in the immortal temple believe what we say? Jian Wushuang was already thinking about breaking the jar. It's better to talk about it. Everyone has an explanation. After waiting, the metal life is really in the secret realm of the cave. The great monk and Shinmu Wang and others are also in the secret realm of the cave. That is, the yellow mud is stuffed in the crotch. It is not clear. Benevolent, maybe you don't have to do this. Danbao shook his head at him, and then said, I can feel the vitality of brew in the others, without any change, although the breath of metal life is also there. But the two, there is no connection between the two. And there is no need for us to put the two things together. Jian Wushuang rolled his eyes and suddenly laughed. At this moment he felt that Danbao had grown up, and was really not the child he used to be. Do the two things separately. Perhaps the most robust. If metal beings are in the dark, they enter from the dark. If it is in the Ming dynasty, then let the great monk and the Shinmu king not act rashly. When the gods come and fight against the metal life, they will quietly reconcile with the monk and others, and then take the opportunity to escape. Or just wait and see. If the temple of immortality can't be solved, they will help. It is the best to be able to solve it, and everyone is happy to solve it. The source of life in the immortal temple regenerates the power of life, and they can also go to the ladder of gods. Just do it. The two of them looked at each other. Nothing was said. 100 years have passed in a hurry. In the blink of an eye, Dharma King Nansheng brought Jian Wushuang and others to the secret realm where Chaoga was located. A moment before they arrived, a huge bubble puffed up in the depths of the cosmic sea, and then shattered. After being shattered, time and space are still attached. The endless seawater suddenly converged on this open portal of time and space. The seawater was just poured in, but it was forcibly squeezed back by a force outside the entrance. Whoa! Countless bubbles surged again. Before the bubbles were broken, one after another figure had entered the bottom of the cosmic sea along the entrance. The person in the lead almost suffocated as soon as he entered, but fortunately, an energy shield covered his entire body in time. Call! Lord Babidi, this place should be the core of Wanlu universe. Need you remind me? Baby D said coldly. If you hadn't taken the wrong way, this seat would have arrived long ago. This group of people is exactly Babidi and others. When I left the city of the sky, in the endless wild world, I couldn't leave after going around. In the end, Qi Jiuxiao broke out, constantly attacking time and space, opening this time and space tunnel, and entering the Sea of Cosmos. Jian Wushuang, this time I see where you are fleeing. Chapter 5945. The baby emperor, who had just shuttled in, felt the breath of Jian Wushuang, Shinmu Wang and others, and the corner of his mouth outlined an arc and sneered. Qi Jiuxiao behind him is playing with those wild beasts in the depths of the sea. Ordinary desolate beasts at the level of the 8 tribulations have a divine power of 5 million, which is like a plaything in Qi Jiuxiao's hands. After a few grasps at will, they crushed the divine body of the desolate beast. Stop playing, it's time to get down to business. Babidi raised his hand and took out the spaceship, floating on the bottom of the sea. Although Qi Jiuxiao didn't have enough fun, he didn't dare to disobey the orders of Emperor Babylon, and honestly walked onto the spaceship. The rest of the powerhouses followed suit. It's just that there are fewer people. Now there are only a few people left, and in the endless wilderness, they have encountered several terrifying wild beasts. Each of them has tens of thousands of divine powers. A few will inevitably die. The cosmic boat started instantly, rushed out of the water surface of the cosmic sea, stayed for a while, and after finding the direction, it began to move forward at full speed. The cosmic pressure of the universe seems to be unable to interfere with this spaceship. Even without consuming divine power, he was able to hurry quickly. Ordinary flying treasures require powerful people to inject divine power to control them. But this spaceship does not need it. This is the difference between the treasures of different time and space. The spaceship flew all the way in the direction of Jian Wushuang and the others. There is only one goal, and that is Dambao. Dongtian's secret outside. Jian Wushuang and the others were forming a group. We are discussing how to enter. Chaoga and the others have been here for tens of thousands of years, and they have been unable to break through this cave. Now that I hear that metal life is likely to be hidden in the cave, I dare not forcibly open it. They were in a hurry outside. The inside was fried. King Shenmu and others, who were about to rush out, found that Jian Wushuang was also approaching. I held back and didn't do it. Now I see Jian Wushuang mixed with the aboriginal powerhouses outside. Aren't you surprised? Fortunately, Dambao recounted what happened along the way through the blue voice transmission, and then stabilized them. The most important thing at the moment is to cooperate with the outside world to find metal life. It is precisely because of the matter of metal life that they panic. I didn't expect that this metal life is in this cave, the king of Shenmu scolded. How come we have encountered everything? He was also very depressed. After finally finding Jian Wushuang and others, he couldn't get out. The big monk became calmer. He thought for a while, and then said, "Everyone, we don't have to panic. Didn't Jian Wushuang say that? Metal life is in the dark, so we will solve it in the dark. Let's work together first. Let those indigenous powerhouses take the lead, just in time to sit on the mountain and watch the tiger fight." It's easy for you to say it, the Lord of Hengmu sneered. Did you think that those people are too simple? Those are the 6 lords of the universe of the 8 tribulations realm, not a bunch of idiots. As soon as his words came out, there was a roar from the outside world. Everyone looked at the entrance of the cave world at the same time. One after another black breath is collapsing. They really dared to do it. Everyone was taken aback. The front foot was still saying that it was not that stupid, and the back hand hit the Lord of Hengmu in the face. Jian Wushuang, who was in the outside world, was also dumbfounded. He just said a word, and he could feel the approximate location of the metal life. And these 8 tribulation realm universe masters couldn't help but move. The Dharma King Nanxing wanted to stop it, but he couldn't stop it, so he could only comfort him. Since you can all pursue the target, it's simple. Even if he escapes, he can be found again. It is better to blast away this secret realm first. Besides, when the time comes, let the Lord of Gods come in person. That's the only way to do it. Jian Wushuang gave a wry smile. He was quiet here, but what could he be able to stop? The Lord of the 6 great 8 tribulations realm universe, headed by Chaoga, besieged the secret realm of Dongtian. Prepare to forcibly open this cave. The great monk and the king of Shenmu in the cave asked Blue to send a sound transmission to Dambao to ask what happened. Attacks of this intensity are likely to break through the secret realm of Dongtian. What to do then? At the beginning of Chaoga and the others, they were studying the secret realm of the cave. After all, it's for the treasure. Don't be in a hurry. If you forcefully open the cave, the treasure may be damaged, so you don't dare to shoot. Now that I know that the metal life is hidden inside, I give up the treasure in the cave and focus on finding out the metal life. Don't worry, everyone, this cave can still resist. After Bruce asked about Dambao, the answer he got was steady, so he could only comfort everyone first. But halfway through the words, the cave began to burst. May break at any time. What should I do when I go out? Don't lift a rock and hit yourself in the foot. No metal life was found, but they attracted the masters of the universe to attack them. That is, at this time, a powerful breath began to rise from the bottom of the sea. Jian Wushuang was most familiar with that breath. The monstrous death energy and the majestic figure have long been imprinted in their minds. Boom! A huge spaceship broke out from the bottom of the sea. In an instant, it was in front of everyone. Compared with this cosmic boat, the secret realm of the cave is extraordinarily small. When Chaoga and the others saw the appearance of the cosmic boat, they were stunned and stopped. This made everyone in the cave breathe a sigh of relief. Stopped. King Shenmu's thought power spread towards the outside world. After feeling the familiar aura, his complexion changed greatly, and he reminded, "Don't relax, it's Baby D and the others." But this is also an opportunity for them. Babidi and the others have the power of death on them. And the Temple of Immortality is looking for the reason for the consumption of the power of life. After seeing Qi Jiuxiao, there is bound to be a big battle. Then is their chance. For a time, the people inside the cave held their breath. The monstrous Qi Jiuxiao faced the 6 masters of the universe of the 8 tribulations, as well as several top experts in the 8 tribulations. It was definitely a fight to watch. There are not tens of millions of superpowers with divine power, and they are not enough to participate in this battle. Outside the cave, Jian Wushuang looked gloomy when he saw the universe boat. He didn't expect that Barbita would catch up with them so quickly. Now it's lively, a careless but to fall. Jie, you escaped so fast. Whoa. The hatch opened and Babidi walked out first. Qi Jiuxiao and Dylan behind him also walked out of the cabin together. Sol Tiandi and the others also walked out together. After feeling the powerful aura from the outside world, their brows not only wrinkled, but there was also fear in their eyes. But Baby D didn't care, and Qi Jiuxiao ignored those people. The Lord of the universe of the 8 tribulations realm, even if his divine power is infinite, but in terms of combat power, he is at the peak level of the 8 tribulations realm. Chapter 5946. Qi Jiuxiao is a half-step 9 tribulations realm. After another transformation of the Sky City, the current Qi Jiuxiao's divine power is unfathomable. It has been able to match the 9 tribulations realm, far from being able to deal with a few lords of the universe. Who are you? Chaoga frowned and looked directly at Qi Jiuxiao. But he couldn't see through the depth of the deal at all. He could only feel that there was a force of death surrounding him. This made his heart move, and he directly transmitted the sound to the 3 gods of the immortal temple. Baby D didn't even glance at Chaoga, but said indifferently, Jian Wushuang, I'll give you another chance to hand over the pill and become my slave, and I can spare your life. Never. Jian Wushuang also ate black iron at this time, and he was determined. It is better to kill him than to make him a slave. Anyway, he still has a second soul. The big deal is to cultivate from scratch. Treasures are not necessary, but freedom and the future cannot be given up. If you become a slave, you will never be able to turn over. Although they are afraid of Qi Jiuxiao's strength, their manpower is not bad. There are at least 6 masters of the universe. There are also Nanxing Fuwang and others. It is not a problem to make up 10 peak powerhouses of the 8 tribulations realm. Blocking Qi Jiuxiao is not a problem. That means there is no need to talk. Baby D sneered and waved his hand grimly. Qi Jiuxiao's figure suddenly soared, like a towering mountain in the sea of cosmos. Covered in scarlet, the divine power exploded for a short time, directly breaking through 15 million. This made Chaoga and Nanxing Dharma King startled. They also saw that the mysterious powerhouse who suddenly appeared was related to Jian Wushuang and others. Don't wait for them to ask. Danbao stood up directly and shouted loudly. Baby D, you destroyed the source of my life. Do you still want to destroy the entire source of life of Wanlu? This remark not only stunned Baby D, but even the aboriginal powerhouses present were shocked. The source of life? The Book of Life. Of the two, the former represents the treasure refined by Danbao, and the latter represents the source of Wanlu in the depths of the universe. Baby D was stunned for a moment, but he didn't think there was anything wrong with Danbao's words. The shield of life was broken by Qi Jiuxiao, and it was indeed related to him. But the source of life in Wanlu, and the ladder of becoming a god, he is determined to obtain it. No one can stop it. Therefore, I thought that what Danbao said was nothing special, and I thought that the other party was unwilling and wanted to vent when he was dying. But in the eyes of Jian Wushuang and others, it is not so simple. These words were not said to Baby D, but to Chaoga and others. After hearing such a secret matter, Chaoga and Nanxing Dharma King really became uneasy. After turning their heads to look at Danbao, they chose to transmit the sound to Jian Wushuang. It's this time. If you don't say anything, well, let it go. Dharma King Nanxing felt that the Temple of Immortality was tricked by Jian Wushuang and others, and his face was warm and angry. But he still wanted to deceive Jian Wushuang in his heart. After Jian Wushuang heard this, he sneered in his heart, but his expression changed drastically in an instant. Pretending to be frightened and hurriedly said, "Seniors, it's not that I want to hide it, but this matter is too big, and it concerns the entire heaven and the sky. The fate of the world. You have also heard. Their plan is to destroy the entire Wanlu source, which is the source of this time and space, and then everyone will be finished together. Humph! You are the Lord of the universe in the six tribulations realm." Just relying on these words, let us go to die. Cheage's expression changed, obviously dissatisfied with Jian Wushuang's statement, and wanted to know more. Although it looks like that. But the bottom of my heart is extremely shocked. It is about the origin of the entire time and space. In fact, they had already suspected it. This may be the inner universe of a super powerful person. It's just that they can't break it. Now that I heard Jian Wushuang's words, I already understood a little. If you don't believe it, you can feel the origin of Danbao, and see if he has the source of life you mentioned in his body. Jian Wushuang paused, reminding Danbao to leak his source of life. Then he said, "Since he is life, and life is a pill, if he dies, the source of life will disappear. If you don't believe it, try it." Chaoga, Dharma King Nansheng, and the other masters of the Eight Tribulations realm universe all looked at Danbao. At this time, Danbao had already taken out the life ball that he had refined, and there were still tiny cracks on the top. That was because of Qi Jiuxiu's attack, resulting in cracks. After seeing the ball, Cheage's eyes condensed, and his heart flickered like thunder. This picture was directly transmitted to the three gods in the Immortal Temple. The three gods in the Immortal Temple also changed their expressions when they saw the round ball. This, after seeing the ball, the three of them were only stunned for a second, and their bodies flashed directly into the core of the Immortal Temple. There is a huge altar. On the upper part of the altar, there is a groove. That groove is where the power of life was born. It is now dead. There is also a huge fruit stand above the altar. Once the three great gods, in order to enshrine their own idols on it, they made a lot of effort, but they were unable to do it. They didn't care much about it. Instead, he had a hot look at the ball in Danbao's hand. "Must get it." "But," Jiang Wuya flicked his show robe and shouted angrily. "No, but no matter what connection he has with the origin in the depths of the universe, he will grab the ball. Even if this place collapses, even if Jian Wushuang said Wanlu the world is real, so what? If they really just live in the universe of a strong person, then there is no further hope. Only the big break can stand up. If Wanlu is destroyed, it will be destroyed, but they can take treasures and go out. At that time, what does this have to do with them? In order to become stronger, let alone the home world, even if it is loved by relatives, it can be abandoned. To their level, some things can no longer be satisfied. Only the greater unknown can excite them. Fight." The three of them spoke in unison like one person. The Temple of Immortality also began to stimulate at this moment, ready to move anytime. In the depths of the cosmos sea, Jian Wushuang and others still do not know the thoughts of the three gods. At this time, Jian Wushuang made Danbao the savior of the Wanlu universe. In fact, he did not make it up, but it was true. But in order not to make Chaoga and others suspect, he still concealed his identity from the outside world. "You stand back and leave it to us here." Chaoga has received the voice transmission of the three major gods to keep Danbao. As for Qi Jiuxiu, they have a way to hold off. As long as the three gods come, it is not impossible to fight. The three gods have not shot for hundreds of millions of years, but everyone remembers the terrifying power. End of this chapter. Chapter 5947. Go! Baby Dis' eyes turned, and he saw Jian Wushuang, and the others were talking through voice transmission. Although he is very sure of Qi Jiuxiu's strength, he is also afraid of accidents. After all, he had encountered this kind of accident many times. In Wanlu Divine Realm, he failed to win, and when he arrived at Sky City, he was about to grab Danbao, but they were still running away. This time, he didn't want the plan to fall apart again. In order to control the road to resurrection, He waited too long. At the end of the road to resurrection, there is what he wants. That thing is terrifying even to destroy life. Once you get it, he will be able to return to the stars, disdain one side and get back what was lost. Boom! Qi Jiuxiao stepped on the endless sea water and rushed forward. The power of the divine power can crush the top powerhouses of the Eight Tribulations realm. Now against Qi Jiuxiao, only the peak of the Eight Tribulations realm can barely compete. Moreover, a group of people still need to reach the peak of the Eight Tribulations realm. The 6 Cosmos Masters of the Immortal Temple took the lead. The battle armor on Cheage's body radiated endless rays of light, illuminating this side of the sea, and the divine power exploded to 12 million. At the same time, the Cosmos Dojo came, slammed into the Sea of Cosmos. After the divine power was blessed, there were already 14 million. He is the strongest among the 8 Tribulations realm universe lords present. Shangluagun. Chao Gu waved his hand, and a pitch-black spear that was extremely sharp appeared in his hand, surrounded by thousands of thunderbolts, gathering the endless source of the universe. The spear swung round and swept the endless sea, until Qi Jiuxiao, after feeling the endless power contained above the spear. Qi Jiuxiao not only did not panic, but was a little excited. He even put his hands away and stood in front of Chaoga, letting the other party manipulate him. Not only did not say a word, but the divine power did not weaken, but instead rushed to 16 million. Chaoga's arms were a little numb from the shock, and he tried everything he could, but he couldn't even hurt the other party. Go together. He is also a little overwhelmed now, and he greeted everyone to come together, and privately also sent a voice transmission to the 3 gods. Originally thought that the 3 gods would use the immortal temple to move in, but at this time, the 3 gods heard that Qi Jiuxiao's strength was extremely powerful. For the sake of safety, they had to keep enough life force, so they did not directly use the immortal temple to move here. Instead, it was moved to the teleportation array. Relying on the teleportation of the teleportation array can save a lot of life force. But because of this savings, on the battlefield here, several 8 Tribulation realm powerhouses fell in an instant. Those scattered tribulations brought by the Southern Saint Dharma King directly became cannon fodder. The top combat power of the 8 Tribulations realm was shattered by the breath shock before it even touched Qi Jiuxiao. They did not have the power of life to restore the divine body, and they fell directly on the spot. Dharma King Nanxing was heartbroken when he saw it. He took the initiative to stay to protect Jian Wushuang and others, and did not dare to go forward. At this moment, they only saw the horror of Qi Jiuxiao. What? Qi Jiuxiao stretched out his hands and shouted angrily. Start the real hands-on. Regardless of his stature, he is extremely sensitive. Travel through time. Ignore those cosmic dojos. He can even break the time and space of the universe. See, the dojos of those lords of the 8 tribulations of the universe can be torn apart easily. Although they can rely on the source universe to maintain themselves, the source universe has been torn apart, and the loss to them is also great. The background is general, and it is almost unbearable. Chaoga, if Lord God does not come, we will be finished. Some people have already leaked expressions of despair, because Qi Jiuxiao's divine power is still skyrocketing. The tearing of time and space made a universe suddenly shattered. A master of the universe of the 8 tribulations passively became a robbery and lost his origin universe. Jian Wushuang and others watching this scene were all speechless. Chaoga didn't have time to look, but felt a chill on his back, and when he turned his head, he saw Qi Jiuxiao's terrifying face. Scared him back quickly, Babidi reminded next to him. Don't play anymore, kill them quickly. Although Qi Jiuxiao was destroying all the way, Baby Emperor still felt a little uneasy. Always feel that something is peeping, but can't find where. And the owner of those eyes is somewhat familiar. It was something he had encountered in the stars. Shouldn't be here. So he was a little worried. That breath is indeed surrounding. Only Babidi felt his heart palpitations, not because of the breath, but from a premonition. Whether it is Jian Wushuang or Dambao, they have never discovered that some subtle changes have taken place in the secret realm of the cave at this time. withered grass and dilapidated trees. Countless filaments are spreading on the surface at this time. These filaments are silver throughout. The naked eye cannot catch it, but they are extremely fast. Soon all the dead wood was covered. Kindness. King Shenmu was the first to notice that something was wrong. Originally, he was still watching the fighting outside with his mind power. Seeing Qi Jiuxiao so tyrannical, he was a little nervous. According to his and Jian Wushuang's plan, is about to take the initiative to rush out at this time. But Qi Jiuxiao's power made them dare not move. I was afraid that when I went out, I would be wiped out. Want to wait. But while waiting, he found that the dead tree in front of him had changed. Originally, there was no aura above, but at this time there was a special breath of life. Those silver lines are also becoming more visible. Shenmu King just lowered his head to look, and there was a wailing behind him. Ah! This surprised everyone, and hurriedly looked back. King Shenmu, who originally planned to observe the deadwood, also turned to look. I saw a 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouse. At this time, his body was covered with silver lines, and those lines were filled with the eyes of the 7 Tribulation Realm powerhouse. Make him cry happily. This person is old friends with Lianxing, and Lianxing naturally doesn't look at it. He hurried forward to help, but was stopped by the Lord of Hengmu. Let Zhuo go. The Lord of Hengmu's face was grim. Lianxing was stunned for a moment, then stopped. Zhuo is a war beast, similar to a puppet, but his divine body has been transformed. If it is really dangerous, it will not be counterattacked. Whoops! After Zhuo received the order, he took a step and came directly to the 7 Tribulations Realm powerhouse. He reached out to touch the 7th Tribulation Realm powerhouse, but before he touched it, those silver lines followed the left hand. Nitash's claws spread over. Not good. The Lord of Hengmu's complexion changed greatly, and he raised his hand to attack. This shocked everyone. I feel that the Lord of Hengmu has made a big fuss. If he attacks at this time, he may hurt his own people. But before they could open their mouths to dissuade them, they saw which of the 7 Tribulations Realm powerhouses, who were initially spread by silver threads, turned into silver. End of this chapter. Chapter 5948. Life physique was instantly changed. The whole person turned into a silver puppet, and even punched through Zhuoyehui's chest. You must know that Zhuoyehui is the top war beast in the 8 Tribulations realm. One punch can break Zhuoyehui's divine body. This is too scary. It is very difficult for the peak powerhouses of the 8 Tribulations to do so. The Lord of Hengmu shot at this time, and it was a little late, and he quickly reminded loudly. Everyone is stunned, quickly kill him, otherwise everyone will be finished. Don't get close to those dead trees. At this time, the king of Shenmu thought of the silver lines on the dead trees he had just seen, and he was the first to rise into the air. The big monk was originally sitting on a wooden pier, but after hearing the reminder, he stood up directly, turned his head and raised his hand, and smashed the wooden pier he was sitting on into powder. In the powder, there are countless silver threads, rushing towards the big monk. For a while, everyone was in chaos. After the first one was controlled, several more powerful men in the 7 Tribulations realm were controlled by the silver lines, and began to attack the present day indiscriminately. The secret realm of Dongtian was completely chaotic, but below the secret realm, they didn't know that there was a silver pyramid hidden there. The pyramid is constantly selected, and the silver lines run out of the pyramid. This time, without the need for an attack from the outside world, the secret realm of the cave began to shatter. Shenmu Wang and others also fled here. Involuntarily, facing the fear of the unknown, they would rather face Qi Jiuxiao. Outside the cave, Jian Wushuang and the others, who were originally stunned by Qi Jiuxiao's divine power, discovered at this time that the cave was silently shattered, and there are countless silver lines that are spreading out from the secret realm. What's this? Wuli looked at those lines and did not understand. Dan Bao saw something strange at a glance, and a fear that had never appeared in his eyes, turned his head and said loudly to Jian Wushuang, "Come on!" Before Jian Wushuang could react, he shouted in several voices. Little master, run. Jian Wushuang, take Danbao with you. Quick, with countless shouts. Jian Wushuang couldn't help thinking, and he pulled Danbao to cast the three-shock universe, so that he forgot Wu Li next to him. There is also the Southern Saint Dharma King. He didn't even know what happened. In an instant, the cave shattered, and then rushed out of a group of unfamiliar strong men, and then found that Jian Wushuang had run away behind him. Only Wu Li was left in a daze. But he blinked, and Wu Li also disappeared from his eyes. Looking up, he was wrapped by an old monk with a bald head, and had fled to the distance. Those silver lines are rushing towards the nearest robbery powerhouse. Although the Dharma King Nanxing didn't know what these lines were, he didn't dare to care so much. He quickly stepped back. Chaoga and the others were still fighting against Qi Jiuxiao. Seeing Jian Wushuang running away with Danbao, and then turning to look at the secret realm of Dongtian, feeling a little overwhelmed. These people are still kept in the dark. But Barbita knew those silver lines. In other words, he knew the silver pyramid in Shattered Cave. Damn it! Baby D held his small claws, looked up and stared at the silver pyramid, and said angrily, Qi Jiuxiao, come back! Jian Wushuang had already run away with Danbao. He didn't want to face the silver pyramid. While it's solid, it's also tricky. What he wanted was Danbao, not someone else. After Qi Jiuxiao heard Baby Dis' words, he just wanted to get out, saying that getting out was actually as simple as turning his head and coming back. Chaoga and the Masters of the Universe were completely beaten passively. It's good to be able to withstand it. It all happened so fast, just a few breaths. Any slower, and they might perish. Boom. The sound of Dongshan shattering came. The speed of sound is very different from the speed of light. They just saw the broken sky, and took a breath, before they heard the deafening crackling sound. Qi Jiuxiao didn't take a step, and felt a piercing pain behind him. This feeling was because of Jian Wushuang's Samsara sword last time. Qi Jiuxiao was completely furious. Turning his head and attacking desperately, countless colorful beams of light erupted from his hands, slamming into the cavernous secret realm behind him. In the arrogance, dozens of silver puppets can be seen standing in the broken cave, and there is a silver pyramid, and there is this triangular crystal above the pyramid, which was just an attack from the crystal, which stabbed Qi Jiuxiao. In the face of Qi Jiuxiao's crazy attack, the pyramid kept humming. There are also several halos flickering around. Seeing Qi Jiuxiao going mad, Baby D shouted angrily, "Don't attack it!" But now it's too late to remind. The attacks just now were all absorbed by the pyramid. At this time, a lacquer black hole appeared under the pyramid. After a humming sound, countless metal reptiles poured out from the hole. Each of those metal reptiles has tens of millions of divine powers. There are tens of thousands of metal reptiles. If this were to go out, it would be enough to destroy the entire ancient moon space-time. Even the entire northern time and space may be destroyed. Chaoga and the others just took a sigh of relief, and wanted to transmit the sound to the three gods. Mainly they didn't know what happened. The secret realm of Dongtian suddenly shattered, and then a group of unfamiliar powerhouses rushed out. It seemed that Jian Wushuang and the others knew each other, and they ran away. The point is they can't stop it. After seeing those metal reptiles now, they are completely desperate. Lord God, come quickly! Chaoja's throat was almost torn. Metal reptiles all over the sky. Cover the sky. The divine power on the reptiles overwhelmed the universe. See. Babidi frowned, and after calling Qi Jiuxiao back, he took everyone directly into the spaceship. Emperor Huntian and others still didn't know what happened, but they didn't dare to ask after seeing Babidi's face. After seeing the fear of ugliness in the sky through the spaceship, Baby Dis' complexion softened and said coldly, "There is no need to be afraid. As long as you don't attack the silver pyramid, then there is no threat. These metal reptiles, the divine power is only temporary. I am afraid that if you attack a few times at will, the divine power will dry up." Could it be that the divine power of these metal reptiles comes from Lord Qi Jiuxiao's attack? Everyone is not a fool, and they reacted at this time. Baby D nodded and said, "You guessed it right, it was the attack from Qi Jiuxiao." That's right. Soul Heaven Emperor sucked in a breath of cold air, and then said, "There is actually such a heaven-defying method in the world. Absorb Qi Jiuxiao's attack, and then transform it into his own divine power to create those metal reptiles. And there are tens of thousands of metal reptiles. Qi Jiuxiao's attack just now was only an instant." End of this chapter. Chapter 5949. Although it is enough to explode 1,000,000 attacks in an instant, it is impossible to absorb it and transform it 100%. This is almost the same as swallowing, but only 20% is swallowed and transformed. It's not a life in your time and space, so you can't use common sense to speculate. There are some things you don't know. This silver pyramid should come from another time and space. I have encountered similar life in the starry sky. It seems to be from the southern time and space. Babidi recalled a little and answered, "There is not much concern about this. Although attacking the pyramid will only make the opponent stronger, there is also a way to crack it. One is to break all laws with force. As long as the divine power is strong enough, it can naturally destroy everything. I am afraid that this will come from the experts of the Nine Tribulations realm. The current Qi Jiuxiao is not enough to break. But there are other ways. Seal, repression, or go inside the pyramid and destroy the metal life that controls the pyramid. This is the way. As for those metal reptiles, although each has tens of millions of divine powers, they are extremely fragile because there is no divine body, only divine power. Although the attack power is high, it does not have any defense. Not to mention Qi Jiuxiao. Even those cosmos masters in the outside world can also shock and kill a large area. But if there are tens of thousands of them, it is not worth it if you exchange your life for your life. Even one for 100. At this time, Chaoga and others also discovered that although the attack of metal reptiles was high, there was no defense. Shanghua's spear swung round and swept it into a large area. But being besieged by those metal reptiles was also in danger of falling, but barely manageable. At this time, ripples suddenly appeared in the surrounding time and space, and a towering hall was looming. The immortal temple is coming soon. Let's go. After Baby D saw the shadow of the temple, he manipulated the spaceship to chase in the direction where Jian Wushuang and others fled. The speed of the cosmic boat is not slow, but it rushed out of the battlefield in the blink of an eye, and incidentally, the sea below was shaken by huge waves. Immortal temple descends. The three major gods made synesthesia shots, but they didn't see the mysterious powerhouse Chaoga and others mentioned, Jian Wushuang and others, can only be forced to shoot the other party's metal reptiles. The key is that they don't know yet, so they can't attack the pyramid. Deep in the cosmic sea, an oval light spot kept shrinking. Every blink changes position. The distance in the middle is extremely far. If the 8 Tribulation Realm powerhouse simply flew, it would take an hour. The Lord of the Universe also needs a quarter of an hour. And the light spot just need a breath. This is the 3-Quake Shuttle universe. It is Jian Wushuang's latest improved peak secret technique. These 3 eras. Not only has it transformed the secret method of cosmic shuttle, even his super eternal transformation has improved a lot. However, it is still far from the super eternity change of full power. The current increase is only 70 times. The complete super eternity change will reach 100 times. That is the strongest transformation. Danbao, you said that the pyramid just now is a metal life? Jian Wushuang traveled through time and space in the universe, while turning his head to ask what just happened. Danbao, who was extremely sensitive to this, followed the inheritance information in the life source treasure, and knew the origin of the pyramid and its internal function. Tell Jian Wushuang about this. After hearing this, Jian Wushuang, like Sol Tiandi and the others, had a dull gaze. Such a devious method. In his view, it is impossible. But in the distant southern time and space, it is sparse and common. Benefactor, don't worry too much. I can see that the metal source inside the pyramid is very fragile. If you can enter the inside of the pyramid, it is easy to defeat the opponent. As for those metal reptiles, there is no divine body, only some weak metal life. The power of Qi Jiuxiao. and the divine power that absorbs Qi Jiuxiao. Even if they don't attack them, they won't be able to strike a few times. Dan Bao explained in a hurry. Jian Wushuang nodded, took a breath, and asked, "Then you were so anxious to let me escape just now. There should be other things." Dan Bao has changed a lot just now, and more terrifying things will naturally happen. Right now, without waiting for Dan Bao to explain, they felt a violent force from behind swept in. The distance is so far that it can affect the two of them. The monk and others who fell further behind were almost caught in the storm. The spaceship controlled by Babidi almost came to a standstill and could only barely stabilize. This turmoil has spread to the depths of the entire cosmic sea. At the outer edges of the universe, the ocean waters are starting to recede. This is the divine power consumed by the cosmic sea. Dan Bao lowered his head and glanced at the ocean of divine power that began to descend below, and said solemnly, "This is the core of the Wanlu universe. Metal life is not tolerated. Once the ocean of universe is discovered, it will automatically protect the source and use the divine power of seawater to eliminate threats. There is such a good thing. Doesn't it mean that we don't need to take care of that metal life?" Jian Wuduo was overjoyed. It was a guess. He thought Dan Bao was worried about the self-purging vortex, that they were sucked into the cosmic sea. After Dan Bao heard it, he smiled wryly and shook his head. "It's not that simple. That silver pyramid can absorb divine power attacks, and naturally it can absorb the divine power ocean." As soon as these words came out, Jian Wushuang suddenly understood. His body trembled, and he said to himself, No wonder that pyramid is hidden in the secret realm of the cave, instead of floating in the sea of the universe. The last time I found that the other party was outside a secret. This time I entered the secret realm of the cave, absorbed the life and divine power in the secret realm, and cover up that you are not clear from the rules above the cosmic sea. But there is one more thing. He doesn't understand a little, but he has guesses. Dan Bao, if you step on the ladder of becoming a god, will it interfere with the rules of the universe sea? Dan Bao knew what he meant, nodded and said, "Yes, once I set foot on the stairs, I am afraid that the rules of the cosmic sea will be broken. At that time, the silver pyramid can devour the ocean of divine power unscrupulously. I am afraid that I have not become a yet. The opponent will be able to give birth to endless metal reptiles, destroy everything, and the stairs will also be broken. And that is what Lord Realm is worried about. So he will let us kill that metal life first." This time, Jian Wushuang completely understood. No wonder the king is so worried. Not just the Sea of Magic. The same goes for other secret realms that float from the depths of the source. It is also part of the original source of Wanlu. If it is taken by the powerhouse of the immortal temple, or the powerhouse of God, it will be taken. All their own. It is also part of the original source of Wanlu. The three gods still foolishly thought that if they took the treasure, they would be fine regardless of the life and death of their hometown. Once the Wanlu Shimu collapses, all the life it nurtured will also perish. God's demise means everything. End of this chapter. Chapter 5950. The silver pyramid is most likely from the gods, after swallowing part of the source of the gods, so that the entire gods' powerhouses have completely disappeared. After Jian Wushuang got rid of the drag of the vortex behind, he stopped. Metal life must be faced in person. There is no way to escape. The rules of the cosmic sea are not enough to know the pyramid. At most, those metal reptiles will be clear. When he first felt those reptiles, Jian Wushuang felt that the sky was falling, thinking that the entire northern time and space would be finished. After knowing everything, I suddenly felt that it was not so difficult. Compared to Qi Jiuxiao, at least they can escape. Wait for the big monk and others. When everyone is together, we will discuss countermeasures together. Now the clouds are moving everywhere. The biggest threat is actually Qi Jiuxiao. Then there is the metal life. Finally, there is the Temple of Immortality. For now, what's good for them is the Temple of Immortality. Can cooperate with each other. In this way, it is 2-on-1. The Immortal Temple, and their side deal with metal life or Babidi and others. There is no way that Baby Dai can cooperate with Metal Life. Metal Life and Baby Dai are both mavericks. If it weren't for the fact that he had offended Baby D too severely, he would have had a chance to pull on Baby D to deal with the Metal Life together. Unite the crowd. Jian Wushuang is the best. Not long after standing still, the vortex began to stop. The two of them didn't wait stupidly, but turned around to find the big monk and others. After just a few breaths, I saw the crowd gathered. A lot has fallen this time. It can also be said that it was controlled a lot by the Silver Pyramid. There are only a dozen people left. Each is still wounded. Just after the meeting, Dan Bao was going to go to them to restore life. Jian Wushuang took the initiative to stop this time, and personally helped everyone restore their divine power and life. His reliance on the power of life is not so great, and the pill is different. Without the power of life, he is really a waste. Over the years, he has recovered a lot, but he still has not been able to restore the source of life. Ugh! The Lord of Hengmu squatted aside and sighed. Although everyone's atmosphere has stabilized, they are still a little hopeless in the face of the current situation. It was Jian Wushuang who personally told the origin of the Silver Pyramid and the background, so that everyone eased the atmosphere. It's not that their ability to withstand pressure is not good. In the scene just now, even if the contemporary pope of the ancient moon god sect came, he would be too frightened to move. Suddenly, a metal monster with tens of thousands of divine powers appeared. Who cannot be afraid? Brother Wushuang, you suddenly come back. Do you have any countermeasures? As soon as the Shenmu King opened, many people looked over. They all looked at Jian Wushuang. How? Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. He really didn't have time to think of a way. So many people looked at him, and when he was nervous, he couldn't think of any more. So he turned to look at Dan Bao. Seeing Dan Bao's sluggish appearance, he regretted it. When he was about to make up a lie to stabilize his heart, something suddenly came to his mind. A great hall. Immortal hall. The absolute treasure of the heavenly world. Immortal temple. Jian Wushuang called out directly, then looked at Dan Bao, and said, Dan Bao, didn't you say that there is something in that immortal temple that resonates with the source of your life? Yes. Dan Bao didn't know what he meant, but nodded dumbly. Resonance. He also felt the resonance from the immortal temple. That is similar to the resonance of the Tian chessboard. Maybe the immortal temple is much stronger than the sky-watching chessboard, but he felt the resonance, which means that the immortal temple is a treasure of time and space. Dan Bao also felt the resonance from above, and it was also related to the power of life. Time and space treasure. The treasure of life. Dan Bao can feel the resonance, which is most likely because of the treasure of life that was refined. They can all feel it. Jian Wushuang didn't believe that the three divine spirits could not be received. If it wasn't for this resonance, how could they have been placed under house arrest? In addition, Dan Bao took the initiative to take out the treasure. I am afraid that the immortal temple is now looking for them like crazy. This time, Jian Wushuang really guessed it right. After the immortal temple came, and after finding no trace of Jian Wushuang and others, they first rescued Chaoga and others. Before they fought against the metal reptiles, the rules of the Cosmos Sea fell, causing a storm. Everyone hid in the immortal temple. The Silver Pyramid also brought those robbery powerhouses, who were transformed into metal puppets, into the pyramid. These metal puppets are not metal reptiles transformed by divine power, but have real divine bodies and a steady stream of divine power. After the Seven Tribulations realm is controlled and transformed, it has the peak combat power of the Eight Tribulations realm. Each divine power has reached the level of 15 million, which is similar to the peak state of the Great Monk and the Shenmu King. However, the metal life inside the Silver Pyramid can only control 10 metal puppets. The rest were killed. This is good news for Jian Wushuang and the others. After integrating their combat power, they still have hope. Of course, it has to rely on the Temple of Immortality. The immortal temple at this time, deep in the center of the vortex. The three gods are in the hall, but they are not panic at all. The divine power storm from the outside cannot interfere with the interior of the temple at all. It can be called the Temple of Immortality, and it is a treasure of time and space. Can't stop this attack. Give me 3 breaths. and I will be able to lock in Jian Wushuang's breath. He is with Dambao, and we can move over there. Jiang Wuya manipulated the Temple of Immortality, frowning tightly, looking for the specific location of Jian Wushuang in the chaotic storm of divine power. Moving the temple once consumes a lot of money. This time, I moved to this place not for metal life, but for Dambao. It's a pity that they like Babidi were all in vain. Anyway, they can still move and lock Jian Wushuang and others. Baby D, they are really miserable. Qi Jiuxiao, who clearly has the strongest combat power, has been repeatedly thrown into the air. This made Baby D extremely annoyed, and was getting rid of the storm, looking for Jian Wushuang and others. With Qi Jiuxiao's powerful psychic power, it directly covered half of the Cosmos Sea. This time Jian Wushuang and the others really couldn't escape, besieged by two strong men. Jian Wushuang did not panic at all. He knew that the immortal temple could be moved. At this moment, he was actively exposing his breath to lure the immortal temple to move. And this time, he doesn't pray for cooperation. It's not that he has confidence in himself, but he has confidence in Dambao. Dambao, it's up to you this time. Jian Wushuang glanced at Dambao. This time he really had nothing to do. He couldn't always gamble. He would die if he didn't gamble. Dambao is a candidate for the god of life, and there are some things that Dambao needs to do by himself. End of this chapter. Chapter 59-51. It's not okay to depend on others. Jian Wushuang also once relied on his teacher, but after the teacher's departure, he learned to be stronger. After spending so long in the 1/3 of Deciyu's land, he got through it. Especially before entering Deciyu, seeing Ding Baiyi's shot of a peerless sword immortal, he has infinite yearning. Some people are just passing by, but he left an infinite yearning for himself, and that kind of upward perseverance. Want to become stronger? You need your own sacrifice. Dambao is actually very lucky. From an unknown little guy, to the sky in one step. Become a god. Isn't this a jump? In Jian Wushuang's view, this is the biggest jump. Also the biggest chance. Walking from the small worlds, he gradually spied the truth of the universe. Universe, space-time, starry sky. Everything is clear. Where is the road? If you want to be strong, you have to go. Just like entering Wanlu Shenmu this time. He had a reason not to come in. Could it be because of what Weiss said? Or because of freedom and extreme intention? Neither. It was he who wanted to take the risk. This is the most important. Jian Wushuang glanced at everyone and whispered. Everyone raise your breath to the highest. I don't know why, but everyone did it. The two peak powerhouses of the 8 Tribulations realm, the King of Shenmu and the Great Monk, broke out without leaving behind. Divine power directly broke through 15 million. Behind the Shenmu King, a huge Moyen vine erupted into the sky. The breath of the peak of the 8 Tribulations also erupted. At present, Shenmu King has displayed the most powerful combat power. Moyen vine, with the peak of the 8 Tribulations, the combat power of the Shenmu King, can overwhelm the peak powerhouse of the 8 Tribulations, and has reached the limit of the 8 Tribulations. If he goes one step further, he will have half-step 9 Tribulation realm combat power. Among these powerhouses present, he has the strongest background and potential. After all, he is an ancient peak powerhouse of the 8 Tribulations realm, and he once refined the treasure of life. There is also Moyen Vine. As for the big monk, the combat power when he first appeared was indeed very strong, but the subsequent improvement was not great. Far inferior to the Shenmu King. Now it has been stabilized by the Shenmu King. However, the other party didn't show any dissatisfaction. Instead, he seemed very indifferent. Everyone's breath exploded. The sea water below the trigger boiled instantly. Divine power filled the surrounding space and time, and space ripples rippled around. Why haven't you come yet? Jian Wushuang frowned. Although he didn't know much about the Immortal Temple, Chaoga and others were very confident in the move of the Immortal Temple. It's 2 breaths now, and it should be here. The movement that Jian Wushuang thought should be in an instant. In fact, it was pretty much what he thought. The movement of the Immortal Temple is indeed very fast, but it needs a huge amount of life force to support it. In the current Temple of Immortality, the source of life has been exhausted, and it is more difficult to initiate the fastest movement. The most important thing is to capture the breath when moving. Inside the temple, Jiang Wuya injected all his thoughts into the Temple of Immortality, and was desperately trying to capture the divine aura of Jian Wushuang and the others. They knew that Jian Wushuang could hide his breath, so they were a little worried. Fortunately, there are still some people whose breath cannot be hidden. But when he used his mind to search, he found a huge aura that erupted above the cosmic sea, like a sun. I found it. Jiang Wuya's eyes flashed and his eyes lit up. After hearing about it, the two immortal gods next to them immediately mobilized the remaining life force in the immortal temple, and began to perform immortal movement according to the position locked by Jiang Wuya. The surrounding space actively collapsed. This is more violent than the center of the storm, where the ocean of power wipes out descent. Space collapsed, time and space reversed. The huge immortal temple disappeared in an instant without a trace. Only the silver pyramid in the storm remains. As for those metal reptiles, they have long been cleared by the storm. Outside the storm, the spaceship controlled by Baby D also escaped the storm. Just after leaving, I felt the powerful fluctuation of divine power in the distance. It is definitely not the divine power that comes with the universe. See. This point, Babidi can still analyze it according to Qi Jiuxiao. Without hesitation, he manipulated the spaceship to explode at full speed and rushed to the position of Jian Wushuang and others. The Temple of Immortality has already faintly descended. With a huge buzzing sound, Jian Wushuang and the others kept retreating. Coming. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and looked at the immortal temple looming in front of him, which had already descended in an instant. The huge pressure and the ancient humming sound made their hearts palpitate. This kind of power far exceeds his sky-viewing chessboard. It can even be said that compared with this immortal temple, Guantian chessboard is like a baby seeing a martial arts master. Everyone was shocked on the spot. Originally dealing with the powerhouse on the side of the immortal temple, King Shenmu still had some confidence. Because when he was in the secret realm of Dongtian, he saw Chaoga and others being tyrannized by Qi Jiuxiao. They are all afraid of Qi Jiuxiao and the Silver Pyramid later. On the contrary, it is the attitude towards the immortal temple is the most common. Now, when facing the immortal temple, there is an unspeakable fear in my heart. It's like facing the true God. Words are not clear. Jian Wushuang. A long and narrow voice came from the inside of the temple, and in a blink of an eye, the three gods came out of the temple with Chaoga and the Dharma King Nansheng. Jiang Wuya took the lead and took one step forward. Directly in front of the crowd, the corner of his mouth moved, and his voice indifferently said, "So many guests are here, don't you explain?" After speaking, his eyes looked like a stream of light, looking at Jian Wushuang. Lord God, these. Before he could finish speaking, he felt a burning pain erupt from his heart. The gods are burning. The means of the three gods are far from his imagination. It's not like Qi Jiuxiao's pure divine power crushing, but a special method that tortures him. Danbao saw Jian Wujuo's happy face and was about to stand up, but was stopped by the great monk. The pain of practitioners is nothing more than the tearing of the divine body. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and shook his head at Danbao. Don't mess up now. I'll have to rely on Danbao to make a comeback later. Otherwise there is no chance. The combat power of the three gods has reached the half-step 9 tribulation realm level. With the immortal temple, you can crush them at will. Danbao closed his eyes slightly and held back. In order to make him a god, many people have fallen. For a time, I didn't know if the of my life had fulfilled my responsibilities. Wherever he goes, there will be fighting and death. Is this really the true meaning of life? For a moment when Danbao closed his eyes, the class of life was also changing qualitatively. The green halo on his body exploded instantly. Together with the immortal temple are shaking. End of this chapter. Chapter 59-52. Jiang Wuya looked sideways at Dan Bao and was also shocked, and then nodded towards the back. Still gotta do it. But to be on the safe side, it's best to let Dan Bao hand over the treasure on his own initiative. Torturing a Jian Wushuang is obviously not enough, and it is found that there is another person in the crowd who is of the same family as Dan Bao. Jiang Wuya raised his finger, and a stream of light erupted directly. Where the streamer went, it shattered the void and pointed directly at the face of Bru. Dan Bao couldn't take it any longer, and immediately took a step forward and shouted angrily, "What do you want? Just say it. It has nothing to do with them." According to the original plan, it was to let him cooperate to enter the immortal temple, but obviously the patience of the three gods was overestimated. Now, as soon as he comes up, he will force Dan Bao to take out the treasure of life. Bruce knew about this, so in the face of Liu Guang, he shouted angrily, turned into the shadow of the dragon god, resisted with difficulty, and shouted at Dan Bao at the same time. "Don't give up. Remember the words of the great elder. For the Perungia clan." The familiar voice sounded. Dan Bao turned to look at Bru. Behind Bru, he saw the figure of the great elder. Was waving at him. "Encourage him. My Pelungia clan was destroyed. The great elder fell. My heart was already dead, and it was life that gave me everything." Dan Bao murmured with his head down. The three gods didn't know why, and thought that Dan Bao was going to be unable to hold it, so they cast a forbidden method on the monk and the king of Shinmu, suppressing everyone in this space and time. Jiang Wuya acted as if nothing had happened, and said indifferently, "Dan Bao, the treasure in your body belongs to the Temple of Immortality. I hope you think clearly and don't do useless things." The implication is that I don't want Dan Bao to resist and take out the treasure. Just seeing the green light leaking from Dan Bao's body, their greedy wolf has long been beyond words. Just words beautify everything. Haha, Dan Bao sneered, raised his head suddenly, and continued. "You don't understand the true meaning of life, so why not give this treasure to you?" As soon as he finished speaking, he turned one hand into a claws and pierced directly into his chest. Green blood flowed from his chest. Blood dripped from the corners of his mouth. The voice was hoarse. "If you want, take it." Puff. Dan Bao's heart fluttered, and he dug the green ball out of his chest. This is not the phantom of the treasure, but the real treasure of life. The moment he took out this treasure, the green light above the scepter in his hand also dimmed. Behind him, countless people fell into a dead silence. No need. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and shook his head. For him, or for them, treasures are everything. People can die, but treasures must not be given away with both hands. It's no different from death. The king of Shinmu and the lord of Hongmu also looked at Dan Bao in surprise. Maybe this is the gap. Dan Bao didn't take it seriously. He threw the treasure out and threw it at Jiang Wuya. It seems that the treasures of life that countless people are jealous of are regarded as a pile of dirt. The three gods saw the treasure flying, and their eyes instantly became hot. Jiang Wuya even stretched out his hand and took the treasure in his hand. After finding that there was nothing abnormal, his face was even more overjoyed. He didn't expect Dan Bao to be so happy. It would be better if it came earlier. "Let us go now." Dan Bao clutched his chest, his voice a little weak. After getting the treasure, the three gods were very excited. They no longer looked at everyone with their eyes, and lifted the ban on the surrounding space with a wave. The Temple of Immortality also stabilized. The area around the Immortal Temple was used to suppress everyone just now. Otherwise, it would be a little difficult for the three gods to deal with them and want to take them without doing anything. They are not the same as Baby D, they will never wave. Direct suppression, ask for treasures. All in one go. The depressed Babidi is still chasing after him at this time. Whoa, ban lifting. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But in the bottom of my heart, there is a lot of unwillingness. Even if Dan Bao saved their lives with his own treasure this time, it would be the same. Not at all sympathetic. This is the strong one. If Dan Bao is not a god, they will not be able to embark on the road of resurrection. It's all over. There is no hope for the future. If at first, there was no road to resurrection from the beginning, it was just a simple congregation, How wonderful it would be. If so, even if they are on the verge of running out of life and heading towards the limit, better than now. The most painful thing is that the person who gave you hope destroyed your hope with his own hands. Especially the Lord of Hungmu and the King of Shinmu. That treasure, but the two of them came together. It is Danbao's first investor, still investing heavily. As a result, now Danbao has directly handed over the treasure to others. How could they be willing? Yu Shinmu Wang raised his finger and pointed at Danbao, not knowing how to say it, and finally he could only sigh. The Lord of Hungmu was not so good at talking. He grabbed Danbao's collar and asked loudly, "Are you crazy? That's an opportunity to become a god. Why did you send it in?" Seeing Hingmuzi's initiative, Bruce rushed over first. He and Danbao are both pulsars. The last wish of the first elder was to let him protect Danbao well, leave the infinite world, and go to the outside world to survive. Therefore Danbao sent the treasure, and he did not have any changes. It doesn't matter if you become or not. There is more hope in living. Seeing that Blue rushed to take a shot at the Lord of Hungmu, Danbao shook his head. Jian Wushuang, who was standing on the side, didn't change much, but he looked at the great monk intentionally or unintentionally. The great monk, known as the Taoist protector of pill treasure, really stood there blankly at this moment silent. It looks like a wild beast about to go crazy, with a huge aura hidden on its body. The rest of the people are still complaining about Danbao handing over the treasure. Only Jian Wushuang discovered the abnormality of the monk. But now facing the immortal temple is already a headache. You can't ask questions at this time. Now the treasure of life is gone. God is hopeless. Everyone was out of breath, standing bewildered. Refining the star is the most relaxed, as if he has seen everything. He looked up at the sky above the universe sea, and said indifferently, "It's just a dream, haha." A dream? Is it really a dream? Jian Wushuang asked himself. If it was a dream, then he lost a lot. Originally, he didn't care too much about Wanli's interior, and Weiss just let him enter Wanlu to look for treasures, and did not say that he wanted to help Danbao become the of life. As for the treasures promised by the Realm King, he is not very interested. Anyway, this time I made enough money. After becoming the Lord of the Universe, no matter what, after he goes out, he also has the power of life and can protect himself. It is not a problem to fulfill the last wish of the chief elder of the Purunga clan. Wuli is the same. End of this chapter. Chapter 59-53. He is also the Lord of the Universe of the Six Tribulations realm. Before he came, he didn't dare to think that he would become the Lord of the Universe of the Six Tribulations realm. The only two masters of the universe, but the easiest. Breakup. They are now facing breakup. After feeling the breath of Baby D in the rear, there is no surprise. Come. It has nothing to do with them anyway. There are even some people who are thinking of going to Babidi now. Once a person's desire is opened, it is difficult to hide it. Danbao is hopeless, but there is hope in Barbidi. The most important thing is that Baby D and Qi Jiuxiao can fight against the immortal temple. Taking refuge in Barbida is also a way out. It's just that they were worried that Baby D would not accept them. Qi Jiuxiao, who has top-notch combat power, really does not need to recruit them in the Seven Tribulations realm. Sad. Looking at the lost color of those people, Jian Wushuang also felt sad for these people. But it has nothing to do with him. Danbao, let's get out of here. He walked towards Danbao and Blue, and the Lord of Hungmu had let go of Danbao and stood alone, looking lonely. Don't know where to go. After Bruce comforted Danbao, he looked up at Jian Wushuang and said, "Where are we going?" "Leave here." Jian Wushuang said it right away. He just asked about the treasures that Weiss needed, but Weiss didn't answer. I didn't ask any more questions. Just leave the universe sea and talk about it. If it doesn't work, just go to the real Wuyang and forget it. It is also a good thing to practice for a period of time in Wanlu universe. By the way, you can also find those treasures that Weiss needs. Danbao lowered his head, but did not answer, his brows furrowed. Consciousness is not here. Jian Wushuang's eyes moved, and he saw that it was unusual. He opened his mouth slightly to want, but he didn't say anything. But a ray of thought power flew to the immortal temple. After the three gods got the treasure of life, they directly entered the altar at the core of the temple. At this point, the treasure of life has been placed in the groove above the altar. The rounded treasure of life fits perfectly into the groove, and there are no extra gaps. At the moment of entering the groove, an infinite power of life burst out from the altar. This power shook the entire immortal temple. The fans of Jian Wushuang's mind were shocked just as he approached the immortal temple. Danbao. He seemed to understand a little, and looked at Danbao in shock. The treasure of life. After the refining of Danbao, they have long since merged into one. The on-demand broadcast of the Realm King has been approved. That would be taken away like that. They have always been too cautious, or they have protected Danbao too well. You can still manipulate that treasure? Jian Wushuang did not dare to ask directly, but gave Danbao a voice transmission. If this is the case, not only will Danbao not lose the treasure of life, but he will even be able to obtain an immortal temple for nothing. Boom! A dull loud noise erupted in the immortal temple. This time, without Danbao's answer, Jian Wushuang confirmed his guess. After hearing the movement, everyone looked at the temple. Just like Jian Wushuang, he understood Danbao's intentions. Now even a fool can understand, because above the immortal temple, a green light and shadow appeared. Light and shadow has a human face, which is exactly Danbao's face. Holding the zhang of life, there is a green light above. Also wraps the temple. The temple is like being in a bubble. In a wave of hands, it is about the suppression of the temple, or that he manipulated the temple himself. The three gods were completely dumbfounded. Originally thought that he had obtained the treasure of life to raise the immortal temple to a higher level. I didn't expect it to be a wedding dress for someone else. For a time, the faces of the three gods were like pig livers. Qiqiao are smoking. Kidding me? How dare you? Creaked. The three gods were just about to get angry, but they found that they couldn't even speak, and the sound from their mouths was like a mouse. The Dharma image of Danbao is now sitting above the altar. It is said to be an altar, but now it is more like a temple, dedicated to the of life. Here it doesn't belong to you. Danbao's voice was cold and severe, and his eyes were staring at countless bubbles, which directly moved the three major gods, 10 generals and hundreds of sleeping messengers of the 8 tribulations, to the white stone slab of the immortal temple. Appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and others. Danbao's deity also began to shatter at this moment. The deity turned into in the temple. This huge transformation. In the immortal temple, Danbao is the true god, the invincible true god. The three gods were like playthings being suppressed at will. Jian Wushuang was stunned. This kind of power to follow the law and create rules made him extremely jealous. In their eyes, the three gods who were powerful in the sky were like playthings in Danbao's hands. Manipulate their lives. Ignore everything. Call. At this moment, the big monk's eyes were shining brightly, and he was more excited than anyone else. He raised his arms and said loudly, "Go, enter the temple." The first one took the lead into the temple, knelt down on one knee and said loudly, "Congratulations, little master. Go further and obtain the true God's law." Everyone watching this scene sighed secretly, and also secretly hated their own response for being too slow. The Lord of Hungmu, who was still complaining about the pill just now, also followed into the temple and bowed. Godly Dharma body, incomparably majestic. Outside the temple, I just feel amazed. But after entering the temple, and seeing the Dharma of pill treasure, it was inconceivable. Has infinite power. This is in line with the gods in their hearts. God. As it should be. Jian Wushuang and Bru entered the temple unhurriedly, and they were also greatly shocked when they entered. But he didn't bow down. What a difference in seniority. If he knelt down, wouldn't it be a joke? After entering the temple, Jian Wushuang just stood aside at will, waiting for Danbao to release the powerhouses of the immortal temple. In his opinion, Danbao is the of life, so it shouldn't be difficult for these people. Most likely still let it go. But then, Danbao's expression changed greatly, and he said angrily, occupying the temple, robbing the treasure of this seat. You are not worthy of life. As soon as the words fell, the sleeping powerhouses in the 8 tribulations realm didn't have much vitality. Following Dan Bao's words, they began to die out. The same goes for the 10 great generals. Together with the Lord of the universe, all began to perish. Life is gone. However, Jian Wushuang found something strange. That is, the divine bodies of these cosmos masters were not destroyed, and even the cosmos dojo was completely preserved. Just lost life. No life. The 3 gods stayed at the end, unable to speak, but despair appeared in their eyes. He shook his head frantically, but he couldn't stop it. Until life dies. In an instant, he killed hundreds of 8 tribulation realms. This shocked everyone, especially the Lord of Hungmu. He couldn't help trembling when he knelt on the ground. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.